It's the cold hard truth. Everyone really want to know what's going on with her show. Just get on the air and you will know it's Sandra. The queen of the mile road is here, helping people from everywhere. Get on the phone and you will hear Sandra. Now she will tell you how it goes, but don't you ever step on her toes, 'cause you will hear the cold hard truth from Sandra. They say she's the hero in town, helping people from all around. You get a call, your money is found, it's Sandra. Some will call her late at night just to say that there is a fight, and she will not just leave it alone. She'll get up and call on the phone, and when politics starts on her show, everyone really wants to know the way the things will really go with Sandra. Some will start to criticize, get on the show and tell pure lies, but soon they will realize it's Sandra. And when they start to argue again, she'll pull the heads to the wind, and soon you will be a friend of Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. Every day everyone wanna hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra. 'Cause every day everyone got to hear from Sandra.
Good morning, Cayman. Happy Friday. Yes, it's that time again. Friday is here. The weekend is here. So listen, lots of things going on. Last couple weeks before Christmas hits, I know you guys are out there partying and having a good time, but please, I'm begging you, honey child, slow down. Arrive alive, 345. We can do this. We can do this. No deaths for December of 2025. Can we do that? Did you guys see the car flip yesterday? Oh my God. What on earth is going on? Next level driving. What's that driving show called? The game that the kids play? Need for Speed? We don't need no speed. Come on. Slow it down, honey child. Take it easy. Big shout out to the commissioner. He was on the program yesterday, and the others, including Minister Kathy Wilkes, and they were discussing, this annual program, 25 years now, Arrive Alive. We really want you guys to arrive alive, like seriously. As they say, the very life that you may be saving may be your own or somebody else's loved ones. I mean, I don't know how you guys feel when you're involved in an accident that's your fault and some innocent person loses their life. But gosh, I would be besides myself. Oh my God, I don't even know what I would do. So just really asking you guys to consider that you're not going to get there any quicker by speeding. And I saw the comment yesterday, and obviously the commissioner addressed it, about people driving slow. And if you listen to how the commissioner replied to that question, which was really if driving slow could be seen as a obstruction. Well, he said yes. I mean, in certain circumstances, obviously, that's possible. But you got to pick up on the nuances of what the man was actually saying. And essentially, what he really said is, let me be very, very clear. People who are driving slow are not the ones who are causing any accidents. Okay? They're not the problem child here. The problem child is those of you who are driving like a bat out of hell. No slow driver is causing an accident on Cayman roads. They're an annoyance, right? But honestly, I don't know how many slow drivers you guys are running into, but I don't see that many out there. Most people, it's that need for speed. It's that crazy driving. It's the, I'm rushing to some funeral parlor really, really fast. Those are the ones who are killing people on the roadway. And that's what you need to be concerned about. The occasional granny who pulls out in front of you, driving a little bit slowish, is not the one who's taking lives on the roadways. It's the DUIs. It is the people driving when it's wet, like yesterday. It starts to rain and they refuse to slow down. It's those people. Listen carefully, honey Jill. They are the ones who are causing the serious problems on the roadway. So what do you want the commissioner to focus on? The people who are causing the serious problems, vehicular homicide and so forth, or the 2%ers who are driving slow that annoy you when you're trying to get somewhere in a hurry. Well, I'm willing to put my money on the fact that the commissioner is not going to be too worried about those slow drivers. That's why he answered in the way that he did, because they're not the major problem. So this is the 80-20 rule. You guys understand how the 80-20 rule works? There's different applications of the 80-20 rule. But in this instance, I think it's fair to say that the 80-20 rule dictates that you got to focus on the 80% that are causing all of the problems on Cayman's roadways. And those people, I assure you, are not the slow drivers. So come on now. Time to rein this in. When it starts to rain and you're driving particularly fast, you need to slow down. Your vehicle is simply not the same. It doesn't have the same sort of traction when the weather and road conditions change. And so it is in your best interest to slow down. Some of these insurance companies got to stop covering y'all if you keep it up. I'm just saying. So a couple takeaways from yesterday's show. Of course, the commissioner let it out of the bag exclusively right here on CMR that they are going to be regularizing those e-bikes and what do they call them? E-bikes and what's the proper name for them? Not scooters, but the bird. What are those things that the bird use? What's the proper name for them again? Oh Lord. All right, it'll come to me. Help me out in the comment section. Right? So they're going to go ahead and regularize those, requiring the, what would you call it? Requiring that they have insurance, that they're licensed, you got to wear helmets. Scooters, that's the word. Thank you. E-bikes and scooters. And people are actually modifying them now. I hope that the law is going to ensure that this is illegal. They're actually modifying them adding seats. So imagine as a manufacturer, you build an e-bike for the purpose of one passenger whose center of gravity, not to get too technical now. I know my little friend listening to the radio going, ooh, Sandy's sounding like she knows something about center of gravity. I'm going to call her. No. And you then have post market. Oh, there's a mosquito in my office. My apologies, trying to get him. You then have post market. Oh my Lord, these mosquitoes are something else. I think mosquitoes have a brain. Not for nothing, but they sure can be hard to catch. All right, I think I caught him. I'm not too sure. All right, but then you have someone come post factory, add a seat, add 2 people on it, change the center of gravity, make all sorts of modifications, and you guys think that those things are road safe and roadworthy? I don't even know how anybody can logically think that that's a thing. So I saw a comment that said, well, Sandy, or not specifically directed at me, but come on, Cayman, we need proper public transport. Of course we do, without a doubt. But we shouldn't wait until that, because only God knows how long that will take. We have some form of transport. It certainly isn't the best in the world. I'll agree. I will concede that that's a valid argument. But by extension, the argument then is, well, we should just wait until we get public transport in place that everybody's happy with before we actually put these laws in place, regularizing these scooters and stuff like that. No, I don't agree with that, and I'll tell you why. I don't know how long the public transport situation is going to take to resolve itself, right? There's some form of public transport available. You can get friends to perhaps drop you off to work, or you can get there much more safely. The risk of these scooters and e-bikes continuing to be on a roadway with nothing regulating them at all, the risk is too high. When they cause an accident, they are at fault, right? They mash up you and your car, your children and your vehicle. You have no recourse of insurance against those individuals because there's no mandatory requirement that those e-bikes and scooters be insured. So I don't know when you make those comments like, oh, well, we got to wait until public transport is fixed, if you're not comprehending the ongoing risk that is on our roadways. And you know how this works, right? At some point, someone is going to say, well, in law, one of the things when I did tort law, that's civil law, right? One of the things we surely learned is you identify the party with the deepest pockets. That is who you want to sue. Because they got the money, honey. Oh, yeah. So when you start to think about this, who has the money when it comes to, oh man, I just got licked off my bike. Now I've got, or somebody on a scooter licked me off. Now I've got lifelong injuries to deal with, et cetera, et cetera. You know who has deep pockets? The government, the people of the Cayman Islands. And so somebody's going to say, the government has known for quite some time now, because they've had a number of accidents on the roadway, that these unlicensed, unregularized, unregularized, is that a word? My brain is saying, hold on, Sandy, I'm not sure that's a word. Not non-regularized, unregularized, what's the word? Vehicles, instruments on the roadway, they had ample time to do something about them, and they did not. So the fact that they did not do anything about it means that they can and should be held accountable. Unregulated. Thank you, Mama. That's the right word. Unregulated. That's the right word. Okay. And then they sue the government. And you know who the government is? That's me and you. Not for nothing, but all those lawsuits the government be settling and paying out, that is our money. So the fewer of those that we can, get to, the better. All right. So yes, I comprehend and I understand the sentiment that what we need to do is put public transport in place that works for people. I do have a theory about that, though, and I'm going to be honest with you. There is a culture of, I want my own vehicle here in Cayman that even for foreign nationals is going to take a minute to change. So you're here in a work permit. Even if you have public transport that's going to get you there on time, there's lots of other reasons why public transport is not necessarily an attractive option. And you have to understand that there are people who, because of the culture of everybody has a car in Cayman, everybody wants to pull up not in the bus, but in a private vehicle and all this sort of stuff, it's going to take a hot minute to change that culture, that thought process. So you could come up tomorrow with the most sophisticated bus system in the world that actually works. It's going to arrive on time. It's going to get you to your destination on time. And the number of people that are going to take advantage of that, I think, would still surprise you. And when I say the number of people, I mean the few that are going to be riding the bus. How many Caymanians do you know that have ever ridden a bus? Like properly. Get on a bus, go from point A to point B. You guys don't do that. Not for nothing. But, I can count them. I don't know that many. I'm going to be honest with you. So let's be realistic, I think, about the solutions and what's going to work and what isn't going to work. And then we can certainly take it from there. Just a reminder, folks, take a picture when you see these lawbreakers in the streets. Take a picture of them, and we can then report that to the authorities, and they say, they are going to, especially as he said with traffic offenses, because he said these are strict liability offenses. I don't know if you know what strict liability means, but essentially what that means is if you did it, it's a ticketable offense, it's a finable offense, whatever, right? There's not a whole lot of room for defenses. Not that it's impossible. Let me be clear legally. Not that it's impossible to fight something that is strict liability, but it's less likely, probably in the 90-something percentile, that you're going to have any sort of defense, really. So in other words, you parked in a handicapped spot, a blue spot, and you don't have a blue spot sticker on display, because that's what the law says is required. You're not going to really be able to argue your way out of that. Because truthfully, even if you are the holder of a blue spot sticker and you don't have it on display, because the law specifically says it has to be on display, they could still take you now. I'm sure the police probably give people a bly, like, if you really are a special needs individual and you just forgot to stick it in the window, they might give you a bly. I'm not too sure. But yeah, having said that, you gotta be careful. All right, so the police are looking for 2 men this morning. I'm gonna tell you guys about this. So I want to ensure that you guys are aware of who this is and what they look like. In case you see them, you should contact the RCIPS ASAP. I understand that these are the men who are, and I'm not sure that the story actually says this. Hold on. I haven't read the story, to be honest. Let me have a quick look. So Sidney Henry and Patrick Anthony Campbell Jr. No idea who these brilliant men are. But one is 20. And Patrick Anthony Campbell, who's 20 years old, is being sought by authorities in relation to robbery and trespass incidents. Campbell is described as approximately 5'6", light brown complexion, brown eyes and brown hair, worn in dreadlocks. They should say dark brown. His hair is brown. The hair don't look too brown to me, but anyway, I guess. Can I please beg the RCIPS? I've said this before in the program. I'm going to say it again. All right. Let's have a look at this. Let me plug in my headsets. I got a new headset because my other one stopped working. So you guys might have seen me yesterday with the over-the-air one. Oh, the quality in that is so nice. I can really hear people properly. But then sometimes I wear the in-ear earbuds. I kind of switch it up. But I don't know, these don't sound as good anymore. My goodness, once you hear the good stuff, then you're like, those sound better. All right, let me show you the pictures of these guys and who the police are looking for. Okay. Dun, dun, dun. By the way, the fight that happened the other day with the construction workers, if you know who those guys are, reach out because the popo looking for them too. The ones fighting in the street with the board and whatever. They all had on that. Remember we were talking about yesterday with the facial covering, the balaclava is what they call it, I think. They were wearing those. So, they would know amongst themselves who they are, but my gosh, what a disgrace. Oh, you guys did see this video, right? Where they were literally fighting in the streets. The police are investigating that, probably with a view to picking them up. What are we doing? All right, so let me just show you here. Okay. Here we go. So I'm going to ask the RCIPS. This is probably more of a border control issue, but we need to start getting better images. You see how the one on the left isn't too shabby, not too bad, but the one there on the right, God Lord, that is so fuzzy. That is fuzzier than the hair on his head. Let's ensure that we get proper pictures of people as they enter the jurisdiction, like high quality HD. I'm not even asking for 4K. I'm just asking for HD photos. Photos of any identifying marks, tattoos, and stuff like that. Make that part of the work permit, especially process, where you have a really decent photo. I find it hard to believe that the picture on the right would have been submitted for work permit purposes. Where did they get that picture from? We need better photos of every single person entering this country. At the very minimum, during the work permit process. Now, I know some of y'all going, but Sandy, that was Donald Trump trying to do, and y'all published an article about, stop it. Don't go there. Because what Donald Trump is doing is not the same thing at all. Oh my God, we'll get there, but trust and believe me when I tell you. That's a whole hot mess and then some. So let's get better pictures. But these two men are wanted by the authorities. So if you know them, you know where they're hiding out. The one on the left kind of looks like somebody I know, but I know it's not him. But he looks very similar in a way. But he not got a kind of hair. They have similar features, right? We need to step it out now. Let's start getting facial recognition. All right, so we have that one, and then we have Sydney Henry. So Sydney Henry is the one on the left. And then, so the names have been added. Somebody said to me, oh, they put up these pictures and we don't have any names. Well, the names have been added underneath the picture. And I think, in fact, that's the easiest way to do it. So I'll sort it out. Yeah. Let me just tell him this because, yeah. All right. So, right. So the name is there now. And so Sydney Henry Ebanks, he's 22 years old. He's wanted for theft and assault offenses. He's 6 feet tall, dark complexion, brown eyes, and wears his short, dark hair in braids. Okay. So a 20-year-old and a 22-year-old, both wanted by the authorities. And the authorities want to remind you that it is a criminal offense for you to harbor a wanted individual, or if you provide false information to officers during their duty, that actually constitutes a crime as well. There should be no reason why we are harboring anyone who is wanted by the authorities, right? They will get their day in court, they'll get a lawyer, and they'll be able to put up their defense and to sort themselves out. In fact, gentlemen, I use that term loosely this morning. If you're listening to the program, which it seems like a lot of criminals do, I would invite you to turn yourselves in. Because sometimes you create a worse situation by not turning yourself in. And then when a confrontation ensues with the police, you're likely to get injured and get hurt. So don't do that. Just turn yourself in. If you did it, you'll go to Northward for a little bit and then be deported back home, never to come back again, hopefully. All right. So one other thing from yesterday's conversation that someone brought up, and I do think it's an interesting point, and we kind of mentioned it towards the end of the show. If you have these scooters right now that have to be licensed, insured, and whatever, what if the insurance companies say, no, we're not going to insure them because they're too high risk, or they insure them to the point where they're so expensive? Right? Not for nothing, but from a liability perspective, I must say that I could understand the logic behind why an insurance company wouldn't want to insure them. It is very high risk. Like there's certain things that you do that are so high risk that, listen, at some point, insurance companies like, we can't take on that liability. And, I'm not here to force them to take on that liability or not. And if they do take it on, it's going to be so incredibly expensive that these people who you guys are saying, well, they're riding an e-scooter, they're riding a bike because they can't afford to do anything else, you will then realize that they're not going to be able to afford the insurance either. So we may, when you think about it, by regularizing this entity, this aspect of road usage, we may actually, in fact, be removing them from the roadway. That may be one of the unintended, or maybe it is intended, I don't know, but that might be one of the unintended consequences. And who's going to be responsible for insuring them? Right? For example, the rental ones. Is it going to be the blue, what's it called, the bird? The owner of those that is now going to be responsible for insuring them? or the person who rents it. Like, I don't see how that would work for the bird model, because the bird model is, you know, like I think I've never used one, but I believe this is how it works. You just go to them on the side of the road. I guess you tap a barcode or whatever, pay a little money, and you're off scooting down the road. So at what point would you actually be able to get insurance for that? You wouldn't. So that rental business is now going to have to rethink their industry. And I'm wondering what their plan is. Like, how are they going to deal with this? I'm here to ask the questions. I'm not necessarily giving them the answer, but I think that their entire business will now be impacted by the fact that they have to have those, just like a car. When you go rent a car, I guess you have the option of getting car insurance. But you typically don't just rent a car by jumping in it and going. You know, there's no fast tracking to get a car. Like, you've got to say, okay, yes, I want the insurance. If I deny the insurance, then I've got to find a document that says, you know, I'm going to be responsible for any of the charges or any, you know, incidents that happen. So you've got your own coverage or something of the sort. So the industry is about to change, and they have until January to figure this out. Irvin says that the two wanted men is going to trim and bleach their hair. Well, like I said, I would highly recommend that they try to, you know, sort themselves out with just going into the nearest police station and handing yourself in. Tartarian says these are the fools Cayman and girls are picking up and marrying. Looking them, you can see they not got no class. Ladies, do better. Yeah, something to be said for that, Tartarian. Evelyn, good morning, Jim. How are you? Jim says they have it now. He's just referring to Abby. They have what? Upon entering the US, or at least they had one entering the one airport I went through upon entry. Fingerprint scanner? Sometimes you get them scanned, sometimes you don't. Jim says plenty of rain is in the forecast for over the weekend and into next week. We need it. We'll take it as long as it doesn't flood out the garden. So please, if that's the case, extra caution on the roadways for sure. All right, we do have our guests who I believe are now ready to join us. So let's go ahead and switch the conversation a little bit. Anthony says, just like any other business, they need liability insurance. They will have to get it for the company bird, and they should already have it, I would think. Well, I'm not so sure they have it in the sense of it covers the users, because I can tell you there have been some accidents that have happened that there was no, there was definitely no coverage there. So good to know. Very good to know. All right. So we have the Port Authority joining us this morning. I think we played this video. But anyway, I think, I'll double check. I think we put it up on social. But the port has a new fancy phone. Fancy phone. They might have fancy phones, but that's not what we're talking about. They have a new fancy crane. And the ministry, and, you know, I thought, wow, this is finally a good thing, right? Because we've been complaining about the old crane breaking down and all sorts of stuff. Finally, they get a new spanking brand new hybrid, electric hybrid. Didn't even know there was such a thing with cranes. And this is a big deal. But as soon as the news dropped, I got one of my phone calls. You guys know how it goes, saying, well, Sandy, you better ask some questions because we got some concerns. I said, really? Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Sandy.
Good morning, dear.
I would like to big up the RCIP and action I see they took this morning.
Oh.
That last roundabout that is on the bypass coming towards Osage gas station, you have a lot of motorists who there is a slip lane that you would come down in to go to Osage. They come around in the lane that's supposed to go straight through and cutting in those little sections that is allowed for the apartment every morning. And I actually see the RCIPS this morning issuing tickets to those that are doing that. So I would really like to big them up.
Wonderful. Thank you so much. I mean, their campaign now, their road safety campaign for the holidays has been launched. So even yesterday on my way home on the Newlands bypass, I saw where they had pulled over several individuals as well and ticketing them. So good job, RCIPS. Thank you, caller. All right. So giving the RCIPS a shout out for traffic ticketing this morning. So very good. It takes a lot of resources just to be traffic cops, I tell you. More than I think than the average person sort of realizes. Okay. So yes. So yeah, I got a phone call. People are like, we got some questions. And I said, well, I don't pretend to be a crane expert. That's really not my area of expertise. That much I can tell you. So I sent the questions over to the ministry responsible, and they forwarded it up to the port, which is now PLAHI. So that's the Ministry of Planning, Lands. Oh, they've got a really long name, but that ministry, right? They came back with a response. It was actually quite a thorough response. We did an article based on the criticisms and the reports. And yeah, so as we were discussing this then with the ministry, they said, you know what, Sandy, because one of the criticisms is that nobody knows how to use it. You know, you get a big new fancy piece of equipment and nobody's trained to use it. Nobody has a clue. And I thought, well, that would seem rather illogical. And they said, that's actually not true. Our guys have been getting training. So we have them here this morning. Let's go ahead and bring the Port of Authority on the show. We've got over 360 people tuned in on our social media channels, plus the website, plus listening to the radio. Good morning, Port Authority. Just turn on your cameras for me. Oh, you seem so far away. I can barely see you. Is there any way to zoom in?
Good morning. Morning, Sandra. I'll just move on. I just let you know the connection is kind of broken up.
Okay.
Sure
yeah, you sure. You're so far. I can't even make out your faces. So yeah, come a little bit. We definitely want to see you guys come in a little bit closer. I know you're using your conference room camera there. I don't know if they have PTZ, you know, the ability to zoom in, but all right, we're going to work with it.
You have to upgrade that, yeah.
You guys need to upgrade. Oh my goodness. Yes. All right. Get the PTZ ones. They're pretty good. So thank you guys, first of all, for joining the program. Let's go ahead and have you identify who you are and what your position is at the port so that we know exactly who we're speaking to this morning.
Sure. Morning, Sandra. Thank you for having us. My name is Trevor Elliott, the Deputy Port Director of Operations here at the Port Authority. With me this morning is Sean Watson. He's the lead technician with the fleet section. And also Mr. Gregory Smith, who's also a technician that works in his department. I also want to extend apologies for Mr. Anthony Ellis. He's one of the night ops managers that is also a trainer on the crane and also an operator of equipment. He had an emergency this morning, so he was unable to attend. So we're here to basically offer you some answers to the questions that were out there. But before we get into that, I want to take the opportunity to publicly congratulate these guys who went overseas to Germany, the first of the crew to go to Germany to understudy and to train as fleet technicians and crane operators. So Mr. Watson, Mr. Craig Smith and Anthony was the first of the three that took that opportunity, took that task on, and went to Germany and successfully completed that course.
Okay. All right, so fantastic. So let's get into some of the criticisms again that were levied in relation to this. I'm sure, Mr. Elliott, you were probably thinking, well, everybody's going to this is a win-win for the people of the Cayman Islands. We have a new crane. That means we can probably move things faster, more efficiently off of the port, the containers, et cetera, et cetera. Were you a little bit surprised when you heard that there were some criticisms out there about this port? I mean, about the crane, my apologies.
To be honest, not at all. Growing up in Cayman, anything is possible. And we see this on a daily basis, but we're here to basically provide the relevant information that is needed to suppress that negativity.
Yeah. You know that Mr. Reverend Elliott here, he's very diplomatic. That's why he got a promotion to that position. Because what he really wanted to say to y'all is y'all Cayman and all you do is complain.
I'll leave that to you.
He's sitting there going, boy, you just can't make them happy no matter what you do. All right, so let's go through some of the questions. Like you said, it's really a lack of information and not knowing sometimes that, once people know and understand something, then they're good with it. So some concerns about training to operate this new hybrid crane. So first of all, can you tell us what a hybrid crane is exactly? Is it the same thing I'm thinking when you talk about like a hybrid vehicle? So part electric, part gas, is that what that is?
So that's correct. So the crane that Port has procured is a Koenig Golfbell Harbor Mobile Crane. It's actually diesel and electric driven. So this crane is a smart crane. That's what the abbreviations on this acronym states. It's a ESP5 series crane that is computer driven. Basically, it is designed for cargo operations that we need for lifting containers, lifting special projects, and to be able to work in this environment. It will actually enhance our productivity at the port to turn around vessels that call on the port for cargo and speed up the process of offloading and reloading vessels as well. It is also a much safer crane than the older cranes that we have. We have 3 cranes that are here at the port, 2 in Grand and 2 in Cayman, that have gone far past their life expectancy. 2 of them is over 40 years, and average crane life is between 10 to 15 years. You may get 20 out of it if it's maintained properly and kept up. But this crane in particular has a generator that powers its computer system, and it does it diagnostic on a daily basis to let us know whatever issues. It's also capable of lubricating its own drag lines and cables and doing a self-check once the operators then start the machine in the morning. So basically it reduces the service time and the self-checks that operators would have to do in the morning.
Interesting.
My 2 colleagues here can also elaborate on that further if they like. They just came back, like I said, from doing some of the training, and they went through some of the processes that the crane is capable of doing. Mr. Watson.
Yeah, it sounds pretty. Sorry, I was just going to say that it sounds like a real technical piece of equipment. Like you guys have really gone high tech. But go ahead, sir. Tell us a little bit more about it.
Yeah, like what Mr. Elliott said, the crane basically mean self-service itself by lubricating the bearings and other functions that need lube, and yeah, it's an awesome crane.
Yeah, so all right, let's go through some of it. So let's talk then about because it is a new sophisticated piece of equipment, obviously there is a concern here that, wow, do we actually know how to use it? So let's address this criticism that our port workers don't actually know how to use the train. What was involved in the training and certification?
So to speak to that, Sandra, like I mentioned, these 3 gentlemen were the first of the crew that went off. They went to Germany to do the technician training / operator training course, which consists of them going through all the mechanical aspects and being able to service and maintain it. Also, they did a simulator course over in Germany as well that replicated the crane that we have here. What happened in the training that Kona offers in Germany at their training facility is just a simulator base, but they recommend an on-site training as well. So we are continuing that training as we speak this week. We have a certified instructor on island that is also expanding on these gentlemen training all the other operators that we have here at the port. So it's going through practical and theoretical aspect of the crane, understanding its function, understanding how to operate the container spreader, understanding the weight loads and limitation of the crane. So that's basically what they're running through within the next 2 weeks to become more familiar with the operation of the crane. Like I say, it's faster. So compared to the older cranes, what the guys were using, which is manual operation, pulling levers, pulling cables to adjust container, these are basically driven. They're more sensitive, so it's going to take a little time to get used to the crane, but the guys are capable. We have used the crane to offload and reload at least 2 vessels already since they've been here during the practice session and stuff. So we're more than capable to deliver and work the crane as needed.
Mm-hmm. All right. Very good. So the young man there who went off to training, tell us a little bit about your experience in Germany. How long were you there for, and how rigorous was the training efforts?
Well, we were there for 2 weeks. We did a TT1 and a TT2 certification training. The TT1 was based on the technical training, actually, in terms of TT1. TT1 was based on the maintenance, in the electrical drawings, schematics, and some other stuff like the lubrication system and stuff like that. And the TT2 was based on most like the bus system, the Profi bus, the Profit, the Visomatic is a screen that tells you, that communicates with the crane and tells you what's wrong with the crane and stuff like that, and the hydraulics. So, yeah, very good. Anything?
Mr. I said, it's very new for us, and trust me, I'm glad to have you here because, like I said, like everything else, technology, it's the go-to thing. So it's a different thing for our guys, and I think we will catch on quick. Like I said, this is a process in working. I think we'll be okay.
Yeah, and we also had first hand to like sit on a state-of-the-art simulator that is a seem like you're sitting in a crane, but it's like a live, real simulator that it moves, does everything exactly that the crane will do up there, and the same thing you sit on a simulator, the same thing the screen will do, and we went through a few hours of doing that each day, you know, plus doing it. Yeah.
Very, very good. So you feel confident then, and I don't know, you know, on a scale of 1 to 10, when you attended the training, how difficult would you say, you know, when you were looking at the drawings and the schematics and all this kind of stuff, how were you sitting there going, oh man, this is going to be like a 9 out of 10 challenge, or how difficult was it as you were sitting there learning and going through the training process?
It wasn't difficult because I'm familiar with, you know, we have the RTGs up by Industrial Park. So the almost space like the same thing. And the schematics, from time you learn to read the schematics, other schematics will come easy to you. Right. To understand. Because it basically understanding where to go, what to target, and what to work, what to go after to solve the problem. The schematics is just a map to guide you where, what to go to and how to deal with it, meaning what to deal with.
Right. Okay. So it wasn't like a completely foreign concept where you were starting from scratch. Yeah. All right. One of the other criticisms, Mr. Elliott, was that this crane was too heavy for the existing port, and that some 30 inches of new concrete needed to be poured in order to accommodate the crane, and that was done sort of at the last minute. and they're wondering how safe that was, because, you know, concrete supposedly takes a minute to cure and all this sort of stuff. So what is your feedback or your response to that criticism that we weren't prepared to even receive the screen?
So, Sandra, thanks for that question, but that is so far-fetched, it's unbelievable. In terms of the concrete work that the port embarked on, this was an area of the port where the older cranes have been operating for years that was constantly exposed to oil leaks, hydraulic fluids, and it kept deteriorating the asphalt in that area till it basically turned it to mush. Before my time here at the port the director can recall repairing this spots at least 7, 8, 9 times, costing the port endless money back and forth, just using the type of material that they did before. So we assessed it, evaluated it, we looked at it. Of course, we had a window, we had an opportunity to be able to do it, and it posed a risk to our staff in any fashion, because the current cranes are operating there and it'll make them go off balance and could potentially top over and somebody get hurt, injured, or God forbid get killed. So we took the opportunity to basically conduct renovations and repair that area and basically concrete the whole stretch where the current cranes are working and where the new crane would be working, to be able to improve the area. So we didn't want to basically put a new crane in the area to subject that to potential failure as well because of being off balance. As you know, cranes, anything lifting heavy weights have to be stabilized properly, and this would cause a problem for this crane and the current cranes that we had in place. In terms of the concrete, for those that are not aware of it, I would invite them to do some research. Concrete takes basically anywhere between 24 hours to harden. It takes 7 days for it to reach 70% of its strength. And anything after 10 days, you can basically have a machinery on it. So we have no concerns in terms of it not being rated or prepared for the crane when it would arrive. But it was something that was necessary. It was something that was needed. And the keynote in this to take away is the fact that it posed a health hazard to our staff. And that is the reason why we pushed on it. I can't speak why it wasn't done that way in the past, but with the new management that's on board now, we saw the urgent need for it, and we pushed and we got it done in a timely manner.
Okay. All right. Another question that came through was that you guys ordered the wrong crane. So there was a question that it was supposed to be a diesel crane, and then it ended up being an electric hybrid model from Poland. And then there are questions about, was this a mismatch from the original specifications? And what about, parts and support? So first of all, did you ever intend to order a diesel crane and instead got a hybrid crane? Because I'm supposing they're not quite the same thing.
Here again, Sandra, that again in itself is far-fetched. So in the process of identifying and sourcing the crane, obviously the market research was done. This process started before I was involved or hired on by the port. However, we went through the government procurement process. So we basically had to draft specifications, go out and request RFPs and get quotes for what's available and what's on the market and what suits our needs. This was an extensive research that was done by the director and other senior management before my time and continued when they came out the port. So there was no question or concerns as to what type of crane we were looking for. We were quite aware we were looking for what was available in the market by conducting market research prior to even going out to tender, even to open tender on the government bonfire platform. So we were happy with what we were getting because we know what we were getting. We agreed. We had to sign a contract agreeing on the specs, the timeline of it being built, the packages when it came to warranties, when it came to additional service parts. We actually even visited the factories in the US to ensure that we would have accessibility to the parts within 24 hours should something fail for the basic service parts and stuff. Of course, the major parts that have a more lifespan of 10, 15 years would have get from the main factory in Germany. But we know and we were quite confident with what we were signing off on. So there was no question about it not being a hybrid. That is what is available on the market today. And if anyone do the research or a simple Google search, you will see that this is the way the world is going. It's basically going green. So these cranes themselves is phasing into that phase as well. That's why it's a hybrid.
Okay. All right. So we've debunked that one. Were there any significant delays in the actual shipping of the crane and how you received it? Sounds like you had to coordinate some training, obviously ahead of the crane actually arriving on island. But did you have any significant delays? I mean, I suppose something that big coming from, did it come all the way from Poland?
Yes, it did. It came from Germany.
From Germany. Oh,
Yeah.
wow.
So what we did, before and in the package and in the contract agreement, we basically had to go through the process of identifying a heavy lift ship that was capable of bringing the crane or transporting the crane back to Cayman. We had to consider the depths here at the port, if it was going to be able to berth, if it had sufficient drafting depths. It was agreed. The timelines were looked at. The only possible delay we could have had if there was bad weather out at sea. So the vessel came straight from Germany. It was supposed to stop in the DR, but it proceeded to Jamaica to get fuel, and then it came to Cayman. So basically, a timeline that they gave us, the delivery met that with time to spare, so to speak. So there was no major delays with it being delivered to us.
Okay. And then once it actually got here, what was the unloading and sort of receiving process? Like how many days did that take? Because then they were also criticizing, well, you know, now foods can't be unloaded and other containers have to wait while this crane is being dealt with. Was that a significant amount of time as well?
So to that question, Sandra, there was no interruption in cargo operations before we even initiated the departure of the crane from Germany. Notice and discussions were had with all the local shipping agents in terms of the crane arrival date, and they worked with us in terms of working their schedule so it would not delay nothing. So in terms of cargo for supermarkets and the regular cargo delivery, there was no interruptions. Everything was processed as normal. They shift their schedules, one ship may have shifted a day. That was about it. It came in clear. When the crane arrived, there was a process the ship had to go through because the ship was ballast, down which it takes on water to be able to stabilize it when it was on its journey coming here. So it took them at least 6 hours out at sea to unballast, to dump the water. And then when it came alongside the port and we tied it up, it took them another 6 hours to put out their external ballast tank to be able to stabilize it, because the crane would be lifted off on one side of the vessel, and if putting all the weights on one side of the vessel would potentially make it tip over. So this process took a total of roughly 10 hours from the time it was tied up. Putting the ballasts up, taking on water, stabilizing the vessel. And on that day, the captain basically said it was going in kind of late into the night before that was finished. So he recommended waiting until the next day because he would prefer to have clear sunlight to do the whole process. So this is a process. For a ship of that size, if you look at it on an average base, it could take up to 9 hours to deballast or to take on water, depending on the cargo. So in my opinion, and the facts that I've seen, 10 hours was record time for them doing and delivering a crane like this.
Okay. All right. Sounds pretty good. Callers are listening to the program, 93626. 9362626. If you have a question for our guest this morning, you're free to obviously call in and ask your questions before they end up leaving the program. Just a few more that I have in my notes section here. So why does the crane rely on a generator? You mentioned that there's a generator to charge its batteries. So does that mean that it's connected to this generator 24/7?
So there's two concepts. The crane itself has an onboard generator which powers it once the engine starts up. That's its regular operations. It also has a shore plug. Because it's a smart crane, it's computerized. It always have computer modules running in the background, diagnosing the crane, running checks on it. It needs to be plugged in. So we do have a shore plug that is connected to the building itself, the electrical service from the port building, that the crane will be plugged in once it's not operating. So that's the reason why it needs to have shore power. If it does not have the shore power and the battery should drain for something, then we will be able to diagnose, or we will be able to jumpstart the crane. Something of that capacity, you would have to get new brand batteries flown in to be able to operate it or maintain it. But the manufacturer spec, just like any other vehicle or equipment that has computer modules that run, it needs to have constant power to maintain those checks, or it will drain the battery over a period of time.
So let me just play devil's advocate here. If there's some sort of a severe power outage, I'm not really sure what circumstances that might happen, but say, heaven forbid, we have another Hurricane Ivan and you don't have power for an extended period of time, does that mean then that this crane would not be operational?
No, the crane could still operate. However, we have mitigation plans in place. We have at least about 4 or 5 generators that can power this crane. I mean, before it came, we reached out, we engaged with the manufacturer, we got the necessary ends, we got the necessary specs. So we have generators on site that we can constantly power the crane if needed, or if we lose power to the building. And the building has a backup generator for safety requirements as well.
Also, the crane have its own generator on board that has about 2,500 gallon fuel tank on board. So.
Oh wow! Okay.
There's a lot of field safe in place.
Right.
Sometime should a natural disaster occur for us to get back to full capacity of operating.
Okay. All right, good. Anthony has a question. So Anthony says, is there a Caribbean parts supplier? Where is the nearest supplier of basic parts located in Germany, which is like 5,000 miles from Cayman? And is the software in German or multilingual for operation and maintenance?
The closest power supplier is in the US. Like I said earlier, we visited their factory ourselves and walked through to ensure that everything that they were specing us or providing in the contract before we signed it was available to us. So there's 24 hours window turnaround for a part should we need. All the equipment and all the manuals and information on the crane is in English. So our operators, we don't have no issues interpreting or translating it. So all that was built to our requirement and to our specs.
All right, excellent. And tell us now, as we kind of wrapped up this segment, what really is the benefit of having this crane? I know you mentioned speed, that it can operate a lot faster. Are we saving money in any other way other than being able to offload, a lot quicker? What else are we looking at here?
So one of the major savings is the improvement on the reliability of this crane. For example, on a daily basis for the last decade, the crane has dumped thousands, hundreds, millions of dollars into the pole cranes to keep them running and operating. With this crane feature, this should be less based on the specs and based on the stats from it, less maintenance, less requirement, less wear and tear. We're looking at probably another 10, 15 years before any kind of major investment would have to go in when it comes to servicing and maintaining. So we're looking at a savings straight off the bat of millions of dollars within the first year of operation.
Very good. All right, folks, if there are no other questions, we want to thank you guys. We know you're extremely busy. We want to thank you for coming on the program today and for sort of explaining this to us a little bit more so that we understand, some of the elements of this acquisition and the training that was involved. Now, will you be sending off additional crew to also get trained on the usage of this crane?
So that's a plan for 2026. We have already taken proactive steps. We have an additional technician training course scheduled for an instructor to be here the second week of January to train all of the entire fleet team will be trained up to the same level to understand. So we'll have somebody available at all times should something happen. We constantly having staff going overseas for training, going on seminar, different conferences, and attending local training events as well. So this is something the port has taken priority in and put it as a precedence to develop staff, considering we're 99.9% Caymanians. So we take that at heart and we feel that this is opportunity to elevate the standard of service that we provide and to train up our staff to the necessary levels that they need or lack for years before.
All right. Well, thank you so much. We appreciate you guys coming on the program and explaining to us, exactly about the acquisition and training and just general questions around this. Shaka Zulu says kudos for having Caymanians trained. And Anthony has one final question. Can the current maintenance shop repair the crane? Most new equipment requires tools that are intellectual property of the company to repair. Is all of that in place? So in terms of any on-site repairs?
So to that, we have a 2-year contract in terms of warranty with Konecranes. So any major issues that we can handle on island, they are available, like I said, 24 turnaround just out of the US. We don't have there was no urgent need for no specialized tools for us to have on hand at this time.
We have, the crane is outfit with tools that could, we have tools on board of the crane that came with the crane that you could pull the whole crane down with and put it back up with. The tools in the crane that came with the crane.
There you go. Yeah. That's the reason why they went to Germany to train. So having this understanding of what is included with it helps support a whole lot for us to move forward.
Mm-hmm. All right, good. Well, I mean, my questions are certainly answered that I had here on my list. And we thank Anthony and others for asking some very, very good pertinent questions as well. I see Carrie in the comment section going on with a lot of questions. One that she asked is, what about Cayman Brac? Is this something that we will, I mean, it sounds like quite a significant investment for the port. Is that something that the BRAC might be having in their foreseeable future, or maybe
not? To that question, yes. The wheels are turning in terms of the port upgrading and replacing all of its equipment across Grand Cayman and Cayman Brac. So the Cayman Brac port is in that vision. I mean, obviously we're one port, so we don't want them to think that they're being left out. So we're potentially looking at a crane for there as well. We're changing out all of the head handlers and container handlers, hopefully within the next year, once funds become available. We have already paid for a head handler that we should get here by January of next year. We have 2 new brand harbor patrol vessels coming on board as well. They should be here. One should be delivered at the end of February. So there's a lot going on at the port, a lot of upgrades, a lot of improvement for tourists. So it's not just the port perspective we're looking at. We're looking at improving the customer's experience here at the port when it comes to tourists. Because as you know, during the day we operate as a cruise port. And with cargo, so the cargo area is utilized for tourists as well. So we have made improvements along the way already. We have included already additional ramp to be able to service the tenders, and then install some water coolers and water bottle fillers for the passengers across the port. So we're working diligently to improve every aspect of the port within the small footprint that we have, but be it known as the country grow, we need more space to grow as well. Cargo has increased tremendously. At 5%, I think is basically a nutshell what is being used. We've seen more volume of cargo on a daily basis than 5%. So we all outgrown this footprint long time. But thanks to the crew, we're making it work, and we're making it work in a safe manner to be able to offload those ships and turn them around. I don't think in the history of Cayman you have ever heard that the supermarkets went without food because of the port. It might have slowed down because of bad weather, but not for the port operations. So the country have a lot to be thankful for what the crew and the all Caymanian crew is delivering for them on a daily basis. 95% of the cargo that comes into Cayman come through the port. So you imagine what is being turned around here.
Right. Yes, a lot. Maybe one of these days we can arrange a behind the scenes tour at the port, because I think our listeners and our audience would appreciate kind of seeing, how these things work, because there's a lot of misunderstanding because we just don't even know what goes on at the port, so maybe.
And that's something we can definitely accommodate, I'm sure.
Yeah. All right. Well, we appreciate you guys very much joining us this morning. Oh, wait a minute. We got a caller. Let's see if this is in relation to the port. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Miss Sandy.
Morning.
And good morning to the port team.
Morning.
I just wanted, as a Caymanian, I understand the procurement process, and I know that the procurement process can be very tedious, and it can also be, you can take it personal as well when you're trying to seek what's best for the people and also what's best for your staff. So I want to big you guys up. But I called this morning because I wanted to extend huge gratitude to your team. I am a business owner, and also I work closely with one of the entities which we deal with the Port Authority quite frequent. And I just want to extend a huge, huge big up to your team. That goes from senior management right down to the junior staff. Your junior staff at the warehouse, they are a set of exceptionally great fellas. You know, you come there, I can sense sometimes the stress that because of the workload that it brings, and I can say that they handle it very well. You know, there's times that they're out there helping customers, going the extra mile, whether that's through vehicles coming in or just a general question. And I also want to big up your billing team as well. You have some very great women who stand on the front line to process payments and offer great service. So I know sometimes, you know, we get out in the public eye and we're on the scrutiny for a lot of the bad things, but let's big them up for some of the good things. We have Christmas that's coming around. These guys are going to be working tirelessly for us to be able to give our families this a great Christmas. There's people who are, and also to big up the Cayman Airways cargo team as well, because they also go through it as well. So that was just my 2 cents. Merry Christmas to you guys. I hope that the year will be great to you all with all of these great changes. I hope that you're is also appreciative of the new innovation, and you know, we have to accept that changes are coming around the world. There's been a lot of innovation, and we need to also adapt and adopt to some of these new changes. So great on you, Mr. Elliott. And here.
All right. Thank you so much. Really appreciate it.
You're welcome.
Thank you. Thank you.
We do have another caller in the line. Good morning, caller. Welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra, and good morning to the Port Authority people.
Morning, Carrie.
Morning.
I'm sorry, I missed your title there, Mr. Elliott. What is your title now?
Davenport Director of Operations.
Great. So I'm talking to the right person. Anyways, I have a concern about the BRAC staff at the port. Don't get me wrong. They're phenomenal employees, beautiful people. The guys don't strip you naked with their eyes or anything. They're very respectful. The ladies in the office, everybody's great. My concern with the BRAC is when somebody in an acting role, they're paid almost twice as much as when they're hired into the position permanently, then their wages are cut back almost half. And that has happened up here in this port more than once since I've been here, and I'm very concerned about it. I'm to the point where I've written a judicial review for that person for it, because that's unfair. You can't expect people to be in the acting role collecting a bigger salary while they're acting in that job, and then when you take them on permanently, you cut their pay. No. The labor law, this country does not allow for that. I know you all aren't under that because of being an SAGC, but that's very unfair. And as the director of the port, I want you to investigate that. I need you to contact all of the office people in the BRAC up here and find out the people that has been affected by that, and let's sort their wages out, because that's not fair to them. That is very unfair. And thank you very much. I hope to hear some changes soon. Thank you.
All right. Thanks very much, Carrie. Okay. Wasn't aware of that, but the complaint then is those people, or when people are in an acting position, they're getting paid more. So can you explain to us, just for clarity, because there have been criticisms in the past with, yes, there's an issue of individuals acting for an exorbitant amount of time, right? So when you're acting, you get your regular salary. And then what is it that you get on top of your regular salary?
Well, Sandra, to that question, to be honest, since I've been here, I've never encountered or had any issues with that. So I will have to look into that. But standard practice, the port do have a pay scale, just like the government. And we're actually moving towards the government standardized pay scale. So if a person is acting, they would basically act on the scale for the individual that they were covering for. And in my previous job, it would be basically at point one of that scale that they would be moved to. So I'm not sure. I would have to look into what she's talking about to get a better understanding so I can answer that much better. But there should not be no significant change in terms of that, because then if the person get appointed to that position, they would either go to that point, be on probation. Once they come off probation, then you could potentially negotiate their salary. So it is some variables that I would have to understand what is taking place with what she is referring to.
All right. So we'll leave that to you then to check in, to sort of verify for us. Okay. Now, Brevin Elliott, how long have you been at the port now? You said that kind of new management. Some people are asking, like, who's the port director? You're one of the deputies. Can you tell us a little bit about the current management structure at the port?
So Mr. Paul Hurlston is the director. He's still the director.
Right.
I'm the director of operation. Mr. Donovan is also a deputy for finance. And we just went out for the position for deputy for administration. So that's basically the senior management level. We have other managers below that. But to get back to the point where you asked me today, conveniently, today's the 12th. Well, makes it 13 months since I've been here with the port. So I started last year. So I've only been here 13 months. And during that time, I must say we have progressed as a senior management team. We have meshed, we have gel, and we have made all this progress within a short period of time because of how we're working together and to be able to improve the port. And we will continue to do it going forward.
All right. Well, all the best of luck to you and your team. And, obviously we're always keeping an eye on things here, and we appreciate you guys coming onto the program and adding some clarity around the acquisition, training, and use of this new crane. So good luck with you with the new crane and all of the improvements that, people have been calling for at the port. Thank you very, very much, gentlemen.
Thank you for having us. Thanks, sir. Thank you. Thanks.
Yes. Have a wonderful Christmas when it comes.
All right.
Okay, guys, so much.
Christmas, the season of love, laughter, and just a little bit of chaos. Sometimes the ham has other plans, and sometimes the road to Christmas cheer feels longer than the 12 days themselves. Was it 3 eggs or 4? Better call Granny, she always knows. But in the rush and the mix-ups, it's easy to forget what matters most. Christmas isn't about perfection, it's about real connection. This Christmas runs on Real Connection, only with Digicel.
All right, folks. So don't forget, Digicel has a number of Christmas specials on. Tomorrow, in fact, is going to be their big appreciation event at the Cayman Bay store. So ensure that you go by. They're going to have Santa on location. So if you want to do some Santa photos, listen, sometimes adults want to sit on Santa's lap and take a little Christmas picture too. You can frame that and get that put up. But the kids, of course, really enjoy and love Santa. So go ahead and take them by. And they have prizes being given away from 11 a.m. until 1 p.m. The actual appreciation day will last all day from 10 a.m. until 6. Again, this is at the Digicel Cayman Bay location. You can take pictures with Santa from 11 until 1. So that's a time difference there. And they're going to have spin the wheel, prize giveaways, with all sorts of cool Digicel swag. And of course, heading right up until Christmas, Digicel has a number of promotions that are on. So great deals for you to not just get a deal, but you can also win big. So they've got postpaid customers who can enjoy 50% off of their first 2 months of service. Prepaid, you can get a Samsung A17 plus a 10-day plan for only $249, and then Digicel plus fiber, not to be left out, 350 megabytes for only $76.50. And if you're a postpaid customer and you've been a postpaid customer for a minimum of 2 years, so 2+ years, you can get a new handset with 0 down payment plans. And all of these specials are available right through to December the 31st. Now, every single time you take advantage of one of these deals, you will get entered to win one of 30 amazing prizes. And that will run right up until the end of the month as well. So go out there, get your deals on, folks. It's Christmas. Great. I love a good tech gift myself. So buy your loved ones something techie for Christmas, a new handset. I'm sure that they're going to think you're the real deal. You're the real Santa. All right, honey child. Cameron says Santa even has an email address these days. Really? Oh my gosh. What a mess. Who knew? Who would have known? But these young kids now, they don't know nothing about, you're asking them to put it in the mailbox. They're like, where's the mailbox? I do love that every year Cayman Bay, right there by mail. What's that mail place called there? Mailboxes, etc. I think they actually have a little box. I saw some girls there a couple weeks ago. Actually, I was driving through, and they were there putting their letter to Santa in the mailbox. I thought, oh, so lovely to believe. Mm-hmm. But yes, there you have it. So have the kids. I think it's a great idea to have them still do a handwritten letter. Send Santa their little list of what they want. So I think our daughter still believes in Santa. I haven't used my Santa app in a while, so I'm not too sure how efficient that is still going to be. But you guys, in the past years, I've told you I have a Santa app on my phone. And so if she was kind of getting out of sorts, I would threaten her with Santa. I'd be like, I'm going to call Santa if you don't behave. No, don't call Santa. And it's really cool how they have it, because when you call him, like beforehand as the parent, you set it up and you enter the child's name. And so he'll say, ho, ho, ho. Oh, let me see if it's still on my phone. I haven't used it in a really long time. So the iPhone removes apps after a while. Let me see if Santa is still on here. And then he'll say, ho, ho, ho. Is that you, Gianna? And she gets all excited, like, oh my God, how does Santa? Oh, you have to re-download it. But the good thing is he has different things. You can do like add-ons. So Santa will be like, it's a video call too. So then Santa's like, did you brush your teeth? I'm told you not brush. I'm like, you know what? Y'all need to make a Jesus app next, because, we will continue to believe in Jesus. So get the Jesus app and be like, I'm going to call Jesus. I'm going to call God on you. So you see it has a call Santa and then a parents only section. And then when you do more apps, they have the Santa tracker. So as you get closer, you can see where he's at. They've got the naughty or nice. Yes, Santa has an app, long time. Christmas Moji AR. Oh, I haven't checked that one out. Letter to Santa. Call Killer Clown. Ooh, okay, that's different. Oh, they have different ones. The Easter Bunny, Easter emoji, St. Patrick's Day. Now they just need to add the Jesus one. That's my suggestion. Just add Jesus to the lineup of people that we can call. But here's what happens when you call. So you can reserve a call in advance, right? So that's where you set it up, and then your phone rings, and then you're like, oh, who's this? Oh my gosh, Santa's calling me. And then they really believe it, because they're like, I didn't see you touch your phone. How is Santa calling you? Or you can do the option to connect now, and you can do it as an incoming or outgoing call. So if I press the connect, I know you can't really see, but if I press the connect now button, video call Santa would like to access the microphone. So let's allow video. Yep, allow. And look, can you guys see? Hold on, let me turn off this light. It's actually Santa. There he is. See? Santa, it's this person. Santa's real. Oh, hold on. You can't see it because oh man, the light. Oh, it's too bright. But anyway, that's Santa calling me. So let me answer. And then it has the little video at the bottom.
Merry Christmas!
And so you see yourself, so little kid, you hand them the phone.
Who's here? You are Gianna, aren't you?
Yes, Santa, it's me.
Have you been naughty or nice this year?
I've tried to be nice.
Fantastic! Now tell me, what do you want for Christmas?
All I want for Christmas are my 2 front teeth. He comes back, listen.
Say it again?
My 2 front teeth, Santa, and $1 million. Give me $1 million while you're at it. Lotto time.
Okay, got it. I will see you soon. Merry Christmas and bye-bye.
Bye, Santa. So yeah, that's what we do. When I'm like, do you want me to call Santa and tell Santa that you're being naughty? No, don't call Santa. But you know, that's only gonna last for so much time. So yeah. And then they have, like I said, the parents only section where you can add different stuff, like it records the call for you. You can personalize it. So you got a British Santa that you can do. So it has a VIP package, so you can unlock all of the different features and stuff like that. So I think I actually I think I can't remember if I purchased it or not. Anyway, this app I suspect is not going to be of much use to me going forward, because at some point they just stop believing, right? They stop believing in Santa. They're like, "Who, Mom? You really want me to believe?" Like they start to put it together. We don't have a chimney, so how does Santa get in their house? Who really ate those cookies? I put out cookies and milk. Did you eat it, Mom? Like, oh, we did brownies. Are you sure you didn't eat those brownies? And then if Santa comes in, isn't Zeus going to bark at Santa? Like they start to put it together pretty quickly. So I don't know. All right. Morning, Andrew. How are you? Thank you so much. Sophia, good morning. Cameron says you need a QR code to talk to Santa these days. Well, it probably exists. I don't know. Neela says Santa needs to have people gifts too. Well, tune in on Tuesday because I know for sure Health City is going to be here doing some giveaways. And those are really good health conscious giveaways. So I'm sure we'll be getting some gift certificates and stuff from them. So make sure that you tune in for that. That's going to be a good show. Neela says, Cameron, you mean that he works 1 month of the year? He works 1 day. Well, he's supposed to be making gifts all the time. Yeah. No, I know, Gabby. Gabby's like, you're zoomed in. I'm actually not. It's because I've added this little overlay and I need to work on this because I need to figure out how to do this, right? So when I take it away, let me turn my lights back on. Oops. We're in the dark. Hold on. Let me turn my lights back on. There we go. Yeah. So when I add this overlay on the vertical one, it looks like that. So I got to figure out how to fix the vertical overlay. I'm not sure yet how to do it. So we look fine on the other one, but yeah, the vertical one kind of looks a little bit weird. See? Da-dum, 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 da-dum. All right. So, right. Let's talk a little bit about some of, hold on one second. Yes. All right, let's talk a little bit now about some of the sort of news alerts, if you will, that have been happening all over the world. Okay. All right. I had to send one of my web guys. We're having a lot of elements of the back end for the CMR TV customize. And I had to Just send a quick little message, a little bit of a question there. All right. So, oh my gosh, I can't, legit, some days I can't keep up. So I try to focus on things that are going to impact us because there really is a lot that is happening all over the world. So let's have a look at this new potential, because I don't think it's passed yet. So a lot of times there's like an uproar about something, and then we need to flush out, is this really going to happen? Because not for nothing, but President Trump seems to himself be very, very active on social media. And a lot of times he posts off one night. Did you guys hear about this? About a week and a half ago, apparently he was up all night posting stuff on social media. He posted over like 100. I don't know. He went on some kind of posting binge, and he was literally posting like every couple minutes, but like all night long. No wonder he's falling asleep during the day. The dude needs to come off the social media at night. Good morning, caller.
Good morning, Auntie Sandy. How are you this morning?
Not too bad, honey. How are you?
I'm good. I just called to tell you about Cayman Bay and their wannabe security guards or mall cops or whoever they are. But
oh Lord, that's so funny.
I've been working at Cayman Bay for the past couple of months now, and I've always been parking by Häagen-Dazs in the theater.
Okay.
And then randomly now yesterday, one of them come up to me saying about how I can't park there because it's for visitors only.
Mm-hmm.
And threatened to ticket my car. So I told him, you better not ticket my car. Because I've been parking here for how many months? And
okay, can I ask you a question?
Yes.
When you say you work there, do you work like in one of the retail stores, or is it an office, or because they have a hybrid, like there's some areas that are like retail, they've got medical offices, they've got all sorts of stuff. So are you?
I work in one of the restaurants.
Okay. All right. And I've always been curious about this, but I've actually never asked. So when you work there, they don't tell you, okay, this is dedicated parking for staff in this tower or this area. There's no rules like that.
No, it was really random. Like, just came up to me yesterday and said that now it's only for visitors. And I mean, there's no notice. There was no client. It's not like they told the businesses, okay, inform your co-workers or anything. You can only park in this certain area now. But you're going to tell me 9 o'clock when I already parked my car and I'm trying to get to work. You want to threaten to ticket my car.
Mm-hmm.
So I feel like that's just a major inconvenience, because I mean, at least give like a week notice, or at least let someone actually know, not just come up to them and say, you got to move your car or I'm going to ticket you. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I don't know if you could email Bart or.
Yes, I'll get on it right away and inquire. I mean, yes, I think if they're going to have a policy change that impacts people who work there, there should probably be some sort of notice. But I mean, maybe they sent out notice to the restaurants. I don't really know. And, maybe they haven't informed you guys, but let's see if we can't get to the bottom of it. Cause I think it's only fair that you get some degree of notice as well. So where are you allowed to park?
They said I should park only on the 2nd and 5th floor of some, I guess the huge parking area thing.
The parking garage.
Yeah, I think behind Jesse's. That's what it is. But
okay.
Yeah, I mean, it's just a major inconvenience to just come up to me when I'm already like walking to my place of work. So, But yeah, just wanted to let you know, and your viewers know, so they don't get a boot or anything on their car.
Yeah. All right. Well, thank you so much. I appreciate it.
Welcome. Thank you. Have a good day.
Yeah. Thanks, my dear. So we'll look into that and see what's going on over there. She made me laugh though when she called them mall. Back in the day when this is when life wasn't so serious. You grew up and you had yes, you did have mall security, And mall security wasn't all that serious, right? They were just kind of looking out for people. I don't know. They might chase down the occasional shoplifter or something, but nothing much was going on those days. It's not like they were carrying guns or they were like real cops or anything of the sort. And then, of course, things changed, right? Things started to get more serious. So now a lot of malls and shopping centers have like real police walking around there armed and so forth when you go to the US. So pretty interesting. Oh my. Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's have a look here at the latest. Somebody said in Trumplandia, but this is the latest that's going on. So they look like they're contemplating Cayman would be on the list of individuals. If you are going to the US as a visitor. Now, somebody, I can't take people on. You know that they say lack of knowledge is it can be a very, very dangerous thing, right? So there was a guy who posted, let me see if I can, give me 1 second here on WhatsApp. Let me see if I can actually find this message. Somebody sent it to me this morning. This guy on TikTok posted a video and somebody said, Sandy, look at him driving and recording a TikTok video. I'm like, well, I've done that before, except when I do it, I actually am doing it hands-free. Like I have my little hands-free thing going. But anyway, let's have a look at this guy because he says that as Caymanians, we shouldn't be complaining about what Trump is doing because we're doing the exact same thing. Everybody wants to be a genius. This is a thing about life. Everybody wants to be Einstein. And most of you are just not cut out for the Einstein life. Nah, you're not cut out for it, Bobo. This is a perfect example of where you need to stay in your lane. I know everybody wants to be social media influencer and you want to have something to say. But what you have to say, you got to think about it and ensure that what you're saying actually makes sense. Because if it doesn't make any sense, what a pint. Okay, hold on 1 second. Let me see if I can show you this video. And then I'm going to address the young man in the video to let you know why stay in your lanes. Talk about something you truly understand because this ain't it. Okay, let me see here now. Done. Let me just see where this video got downloaded. Yes, I think this is it. Okay. So this is what this TikToker has to say. I don't know who this young man is. Big shout out to him. But listen to what he has to say.
Hey, morning. Quick and fast. Quick and fast. I'm late for work. What channel?
By the way, late for work, driving, recording, and no seatbelt. But carry on. Carry on.
Make a post. Say US. I gonna start clamp down even for Caymanians traveling to America, so they want to see social media history for the last 5 years. Somebody tell me why all of the comments people vex. Why me I see vexation in the comments? Or should be saying, no, that's good. You do that, Mr. Trump. You do that. You do what you have to do to protect your borders and your country. Isn't that the same thing we're doing around here? Eh? Not the same thing we are doing? You see the level of hypocrisy? It's all fun and games till it happen to you. Hey, yeah man. Dog say your social media history. But starting with social media history, what next? What will come? Anything the dog want to do a film country, just like what Cayman do.
Somebody say this young man's name is Christopher Clark. Oh, Christopher. I mean, I know. Where you work there? Where you work? Because Einstein, Einstein, So he's trying to say, and some of you have also made this point, that, but y'all doing the same thing. Really? I challenge you to show us where we're even remotely doing anything close to that. First of all, Here's a distinction for Christopher and the rest of you who might have missed the memo. This new situation, let me play this little video. Here we go.
A new proposal from DHS that would see tourists from a lot of countries have to hand over 5 years of social media history to get a tourist visa. Are you concerned at all that if that's implemented, there would be a decline in tourism next year? And what sort of material do you think is...
We're doing so well. We just want people to come over here and safe. We want safety, we want security, we want to make sure we're not letting the wrong people come into our country. We're getting rid of a lot of bad ones from jails, from mental institutions, drug dealers. And we're getting a lot of bad people.
Oh my God, from mental institutions? Are they deporting Americans from mental institutions now? Oh my God, come now, come. Does this man even know what he's talking about? I mean, I know you guys love him, but when you actually listen to what the man says, he makes no blinkety blink sense. I can't even, my brain hurts when I have to listen to Trump's logic because it doesn't make any sense. Here's the truth. In 2025, U.S. tourism is facing a significant decline, with international arrivals dropping sharply by 8.2%. That drop, coupled with a 4.2% decrease in inbound spending, is poised to result in a loss of $8.3 billion in visitor revenue. But yet that man says they're doing so great. Oh, we're doing so great. We just want people to come in safely. Now, back to genius Christopher. The difference, Christopher, is this. We're not requiring those things of, let me be clear, we are not requiring those things of visitors. You see, this is where you have to be able to discern what an apple looks like and what an orange looks like. Because you can't compare apples to oranges because they're two completely different fruit. Yeah? So this is not, and I'm serious, this is, okay, what is our visitor intake process like here? To get a visitor visa to come to the Cayman Islands, what is it that you require? A police clearance certificate? They asking you for social, I mean, I've obviously never filled out a visitor visa, so you guys tell me. When you want to come here and visit, you're coming off a cruise ship. Do we ask you for all this information? I'm pretty sure we don't, right? The funny thing is, if we did, the people that would be kicking up the most stink would be the Americans themselves. The same ones that some of you feel like, oh, this is a wonderful and great idea. It's actually ridiculous. The biggest problem with it is what they intend to do with it. So there's a much broader question here of why is it that you're asking for this information? Okay? What is the end game? What a pint. What is really the pint? Why does Trump care what your social media activity actually is? So he expects you to turn over your social media handles, email addresses, telephone numbers, not just of you, but of your family members and associates and stuff as well? What? I don't even know the email addresses of family members. I'm like, what? Why would I be handing that over? I'm confused. Right? It's a bit extreme. And the real question is, like I said, what is the intent? What are you going to do with this information? For a president that has a knack of targeting people that he doesn't like, and when I say target them, I'm talking about criminal prosecution. Did you guys see the one with that lady? I can't remember what her name is, right? South African American lady, where he was trying to get her on mortgage fraud. So he had his, dogs go after her for mortgage fraud, and they actually now have dropped charges. So hold on. He actually fired, hold on. So this lady, she got fired. Her name is Lisa Cook. So he fired her back in August over mortgage fraud allegations. Now it turns out that they have dropped the charges against her, saying that they don't even have like the preliminary requirements to proceed against this woman for mortgage fraud. Not for nothing, but the way that they were trying to get her on the whole mortgage fraud thing is that they were claiming that she had down Letitia James. Oh, my apologies. There was that one. She was fired too, but hold on. Letitia James is the latest one. Okay, hold on. They're all African-American women, so you're starting to get confused here. Okay, right. So a grand jury, again, a New York grand jury has declined to re-indict Letitia James. So 2 separate grand juries now have refused to indict this woman, despite the fact that the federal government, the New York Attorney General, has come in with his case, right? Saying this is what this woman did. She had like 2 homes that she's claiming is her primary residence. The shocking part of this in the last 2 days, in case you guys watch the news, President Trump also has exact same thing, 2 places listed as his primary residence. So they're like, wait a minute, you're accusing her of mortgage fraud because she has 2 places listed as her primary residence. You also have 2 places listed as your primary residence. So what's the difference? You should be charged at mortgage fraud as well. But that's not how this works, right? You only get targeted by Trump if you're not one of his supporters, if you're not a multimillionaire, then you got a problem. So the problem is this. You can bet your bottom dollar that CBC and the Cayman Islands government has no concerns about visitors coming here and us scrolling through their social media to see whether or not they've been criticizing our premier. We don't care. We're not asking for any social media handles and email addresses and websites you're visiting and all this kind of ridiculous foolishness because of what? We care politically what your position is. That's not what's happening here. So Christopher, what's his name? Christopher who? Whatever this young man's name is, when he tries to make the correlation between what they're doing and what Cayman is doing, saying, oh, well, they're just protecting their borders. Have it make sense, though. Like you got to come good and you got to make sure that what you're actually saying is logical and it makes sense. And quite frankly, unfortunately, Mr. Christopher, it really doesn't. It doesn't make any sense. He works at Cineco. Cineco? Doing what? I'm curious. Now I'm curious as to who Christopher Clark is. But it just doesn't make any sense. If you want to criticize immigration in Cayman, and I'm not saying that they're above criticism, if you want to criticize their policies and procedures, then come and have it make sense. Like, make a good argument. Don't try to link things that are no way connected. Every country has a right to protect its borders. Every country has a right to set its policies and procedures. That's not what we're arguing and debating about. We're not saying that the United States of America doesn't have a right to protect its borders. No country worth its salt can have an open border policy. It just doesn't make any sense. So of course you have to have rules and regulations about entry into your country. Nothing wrong with that. But there does come a point in time when there's a good argument to be made that maybe you're going too far. So the question here is, this isn't about basic identity and security checks, which is what we would expect from CBCs and immigration, right? Passport numbers, past criminal history, all of these things. That's how you keep your country safe. Now, what President Trump seems to be wanting to do is to check people's online presence, data mining, surveillance, profiling. Civil liberties groups all over the world are like, what? You're now social media vetting free speech? Right? Criticisms of the government, political posts. your religious beliefs, any activism, that's now going to be scrutinized and used against you and decide whether or not they're going to let you in to the country. He's already said that, people with illnesses, we don't want you guys coming in either. Christopher, pay attention. Heaven forbid you have cancer. You're diabetic. You're overweight, says the unhealthiest president ever, right? You're overweight according to Trump. Your midsection is a little bit too big. He doesn't want you coming into his country, even as a visitor. That's ridiculous. You know how many people have to travel to the United States of America to be able to get medical surgeries and assistance? And this man has now said they will, based on your weight, based on if you have diabetes, if you have cancers, you got a brain tumor, you can't go to the US anymore. They're not going to give you a visitor's visa for you to go there and get medical treatment. Christopher, have it make sense. It's too much. And that is the general consensus. All of the things that this man does, right, in the name of protecting his country and his border, it really becomes too much. This is not about security. And, some people say, well, if you have nothing to hide, what's the problem? Really? You're comfortable with a government agency mass collecting usernames, emails, contact history, and all that kind of stuff, and storing it where and doing what with it? It's really not about you have nothing to fear. Your DNA, they actually want DNA samples. What? I must give President Trump and his ICE people, who can't even arrest someone properly. They're arresting American citizens. I must give them my DNA sample for that to show up at some murder, capital case in Washington. Y'all got to be crazy. The day that they ask for that, trust me, I got to tell Amazon, let's find out how you can ship my stuff to Canada, and we'll get it from Canada to Cayman. This is next level. And you see, unfortunately, Christopher, this is why I'm going to tell you that you're not really an Einstein, is because when you start to get into this type of a conversation and you're not understanding the dangers of what is actually being proposed, right? And you want to say, well, Cayman doing it, and if you guys feel like you have a right to protect your borders, it is not the same thing at all. Okay? We're going to scrutinize you. Visitors certainly don't get the most scrutiny. If you're going to be here long term, yes, you do get a bit more scrutiny. We want to know a little bit more about you. But we're nowhere near this type of, this feels very much like Nazi Germany. And I know you might think, well, that sounds a bit extreme, Sandy, but it's a recognized pattern where a regime is built on bureaucratic tools to mark and track undesirable groups. And they're trying to do this mass, identification of people, right? And putting you in these categories. That is the problem. That's when people are open to persecution and violence. So this can be a very, very tricky and dangerous rabbit hole that the US is going down. I'm not giving anybody my DNA sample. In fact, I will tell you the number of times that I've been arrested by the RCIPS. Legally, they have a right to take your DNA. And you all should know that after your case is finished, you have a legal right to ask for that DNA to be destroyed. And you better. Because next thing you know, I'm not a conspiracy theorist by any stretch of the imagination, but next thing you know, my DNA showing up at some murder scene talking about I did it. I'm like, hell to the no. Someone says, is he Caymanian? He's talking with a Jamaican accent. I don't know who the hell he is. Whether he's Caymanian or not, I would say, check yourself. Go check your facts and try to understand. I doubt he's a Caymanian, because no Caymanian getting up in their feelings about the few little requirements that our government has in place. That's the irony of all of this, right? Caymanians, come on. Someone says the irony of him working for an insurance company and driving without a seatbelt, a government one at that. I mean, I'm not here to call out Christopher, because if he loses his little job, then he's going to be all up in his feelings. But Christopher, this is what happens when y'all want to be flossing all over social media. You have to know that you're simply putting yourself in the limelight for people to pay attention to what it is that you're doing. So now once this gets back to your bosses that, yes, you work for Cineco, and here you are out here without a seatbelt and driving on the roadways, that's against the law, actually, and using a phone to record, it looks like it wasn't hands-free, you may have a problem. Talking about you rushing to get to work. I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if somebody sent that video right now to the Popo and said that maybe he needs to be issued a ticket, because here's that evidence that you were talking about on yesterday's show, and he recorded it himself. Oh, Einstein. Oh my gosh. What a hit. So we'll continue to monitor, obviously, that situation. And on the other hand, if you have a lot of money, then you're in a very different category in the United States of America. So if you have a lot of money, apparently you can get a Trump gold card. What a hot mess. Yes, a week ago, Trump posted 150 times in one night. 150 times in one night. And I know y'all gonna tell me that that's okay. You're gonna explain this away, that that's logical. Like most normal people do that. The Guardian says Trump's night of 160 posts on Truth Social fuels debate about his stamina. Well, he got stamina for that, but yet he's falling asleep at cabinet meetings. Dude, go to sleep at your age. You're 79 years old. At your age, you need good rest. You need sleep. You know, you're not the healthiest with the diet and everything else. Your heart attack waiting to happen. We know he loves his burgers. The only exercise he gets is playing golf. Apparently, he's told people exercise is bad for you. Y'all didn't know that, did you? That's something from when he was a young man. He's always, dodging, war dodger and all that kind of stuff. He's always said that apparently exercise is bad for you, and he doesn't recommend that anyone do it. So he's always been a little bit off with his facts from day one. So the most he'll do in terms of exercise is probably jumping on top of some woman, not usually his wife at the time. And then also, playing golf. I guess golf is better than no exercise, but there you have it. So posting 160 times in one night, but there's nothing wrong with him. That's normal. Yeah, that's weird. But anyway, his new Trump gold card. It's weird, but apparently there's some kind of Trump gold card visa. The website is up already? TrumpCard.gov. I can't believe these people are actually changing government websites to accommodate this man. So he's sitting there, BBC has him sitting there with a little gold card in his hand, and he has now officially launched his $1 million gold card immigration visa. This guy is so funny. I mean, if he wasn't actually running a country, this would make a really good reality show. Like this is all super humorous. Look at him here. He's got Bitcoin. He's got a phone. Now he has this gold card. Hold on. Let me show you the picture of him holding this gold card in his hand. I mean, it is comical, but it is also dangerous because this man is running the biggest country, one of the biggest countries. Look at him with his little gold card with his little picture on it. Look at that. That's his gold card. Look at him smiling like he's putting 2 and 2 together and actually getting 4. Oh my God. Caller, good morning, honey child.
Morning again. I like this call, but anyway, I'm going to bring it to you, Jeff. How I got to bring it to you?
Yes.
You and I, you got your opinion, I got mine.
Yes.
And I respect yours. So I hope that's a reciprocal. Anyway, I don't have anything against anybody, how they want to run their country. But how I see mine running, and the TikToker, I mean, he wasn't very clear. So I didn't really pay him any mind with his comment, because I'm like, we're now gone in and sort of scraped some of the scabs off of the Immigration Transition Act. That's what I have seen. And I stayed quiet to listen to everybody else's point of view on this. Basically, what it's narrowed down to, we're painting over the rest of the car with the revisions to the Immigration Transition Act. And this is in no way against the NCFC. I think they're a fabulous government. So far, they please me, so I'm not going to argue with them. But what I am saying out here, somebody who has been neck deep in that same immigration law, know a lot about it, and read a lot of laws in this country, when the policy comes to attach to those laws, the policies are way above the law. And this is where we drop the ball in this country. Our parliamentarians are not ensuring that when the law gets passed with the changes, that when the ministry gets the law,
when you say the policy, just explain that to me. You said the policies are above the law?
Yeah.
What does that mean?
A lot of policies in relation to our laws are above the actual law itself. They are doing more than the law is allowing. Policies are allowed. Look at the Immigration Transition Act, and then look at the stuff that happens once you submit an application to the WORC. Once you, like I've explained before, with all the grace periods that granted to people by making them pay for time to stay here and compete with us for jobs, that should be completely removed. You got 5 days and you gone. You want another job in this country? Well, you travel back. You go to the country, you find another one, come back. We should not be competing out here with these individuals for extended periods of time. That is unfair to us, Sandra, and you know it unfair. How would you feel if you were in the shoes of other people out here looking for work, and you got hundreds or thousands of different nationalities in between work permits are competing with you for the same job? Our people were very good workers. You know, we got that stigmatization on us by the expatriate community. They're the ones called us lazy, and we are not. You want to see laziness? Ask the people in the BRAC. The lady who had 6, I think it was Filipino caregivers in 1 year, hated the job, didn't do a proper job, then cleaned her house. I can afford to take her. When I went to clean it, I was like, she's cleaning your house? Caregiver and domestic, could they join the two together on a permit for Kim and Brack? You got to clean the house, sweep the yard, and you got to take care of the person and feed them, bathe them, whatever, if you don't have to do those things. Anyway, my point of it is, we have policies that say, okay, after we get this Immigration Transition Act, look at the law. There is no provisions in the law that gives an individual all this extension of time after a work permit is either terminated, revoked, canceled, or whatever, deferred. There is deferred. Hold
on.
Stay here forever.
Hold on a second, Carrie. So your point of contention is the fact that when people come here and they're living and working here, if their work permit gets canceled, they're not gone in less than a week. But let's be fair. Let's be fair, okay? Could you pick up your life, and whether you're visiting a country or not, say you're there for 6 months or a year, could you pick up and have everything organized in 5 days to leave that country?
Well, you always have it organized if you're not a resident with any rights to remain here. You should always know that your situation is temporary, and you should have that mindset ingrained in you until you become a resident.
Well, I'm going to say that it's not that easy. Sometimes you can't even get a flight booked within 5 days. So let's be fair.
That's why years ago you had to go and get a ticket and show it at the counter that you have a ticket to leave. If you couldn't get a flight out immediately, they gave you the additional time to go and secure a ticket, and they told you, go and get a ticket out of this country as soon as you can. And you can't tell me you can't get a ticket out of this country in 48 hours. I can tell you can, whether it's Cuba, Jamaica, Panama, or US, you can get a ticket out of this country. This is the situation that people are not looking into. The policies that are fermented into the situation are allowing people to drag the law by its feet and constantly do it. And those that are in charge of ensuring the policies are not above the law are not making that not fixing that error that come out here, that just cut our throats. Look at me. I am going to say it today. I need a job, and I have applied for a lot of them. And there are a lot of people in Cayman Brac that are not citizens getting those jobs that I can also do. I watered down my resume, so I didn't want to compete with my own people heavily because of my degrees and everything else. But the mere fact is, we are not looking to give our people a job. You're hearing Cayman Brackers will get the job. Bullshit. Cayman Brackers are not getting the jobs. Filipinos are getting the jobs. That's who's getting the jobs up here. And that's unfair.
I am curious to know, though, right? As someone who has been in the space of, you've been a business owner and that sort of thing. What jobs are Filipinos competing with you specifically?
Well, I watered down my resume for customer service positions. I don't want nothing flamboyant. I said that I want something more administrative. They got them in the hospital. They got them in district admin. They got them in other private businesses up here. The same administrative jobs I can do. I know. I've been around this island. And these individuals are on work permits, some temporary, some on longer permits, 1 year, 2 years, or whatever. They go into the government. They do not have to get a permit. They automatically stay there as long as they want, or they mess up big time and get terminated. And that's rare in the Cayman Islands government. So my point of this is, if I am able to do a low-key job and in those positions and prefer that, because I really don't need anything high level. I don't want it. Why are you not giving me the opportunity? Somebody who's got years of experience, a native citizen of this country, and we need to be given preference, and we're not. We're kicked out at a corner. The other day, I had an interview for the library job. I tell you, I go raise wrath if that go to anybody other than native. I go raise wrath. They canceled it an hour before I was to attend. 1 hour before they canceled it. You telling me that I can't do that? A bookworm like me, who was also in my library at the high school for the whole 5 years that I was in the Cayman Islands High School, and Miss Anita can tell you that because she treated me in that library. And that was back then when everything was not as high tech as it is now. It was all very manual. But the point I'm trying to make is, I'm out here. I've been crushed by my government with lies in a fake, I call it, lawsuit against me. They've brought against me. I can win that with my eyes closed and one hand tied behind my back. They have done that, and they continue to stretch it out so that I can continue to be on this road of no work, no employment, no clients, no nothing. See what they did me the other day with my licenses that I told you? Finally, they sent them, Sandra. They're all expired. They even sent me license for somebody else, not even mine. And then going to tell me the ones that the system is saying was emailed out, they can't give me any kind of grace and not paying penalties on. That's very deliberate. I consider that entire situation spiteful and vindictive, because I could understand if it was one license this happened to, but it was more than one. It was 4 licenses, Sandra, at different intervals that was submitted. So you tell me, if that a vindictiveness coming out of the Cayman Islands government against me, I can't survive in my country. I can't. I'm a sit here at the side of the road and beg. I'm not going to live like that anymore. So any shit I can find on the government administratively that's corrupt, I'm going to put it out there for the world to see.
I'm gonna
do them what they do me.
Well, I mean, you can do that, but what I was going to actually say to you is perhaps that's one of the reasons why you can't get a job, because you keep yes. Now listen, you need to.
I'm sorry.
No.
This is years. This is multiple years of abuse,
Carrie,
that nobody want to take on.
Let's talk. Let's talk about it. Right.
All right.
When you openly and constantly complain and criticize the government, you think the government is going to turn around and hire you?
They should.
Well, they're not going to.
That's when they're being spiteful.
You can call it. You can call it spiteful. However,
look at there's very few complaining about the government on social media, and they have government jobs.
Well, that's because they got the job.
I got them all documented.
That's because they got the job first in most instances. Then they felt comfortable enough to complain. You not got the job yet. And you're out here lambasting, complaining the government. So every time you submit a government application, you know that gets put in file 13.
So tell me something then. Tell me this. When I was at Cisco, why did you do what you did to me? I forgave you for it, but why did you do that? Because I was out there. That was the second time the government had crushed my business and took me to court, and I won the matter. Look at all the fines they made me pay for that matter. $700 to $500 in fines and all. Now,
all right,
I
so
can't get $1 refunded.
Let's talk about it, because I mean, you say you're forgiven and whatever, but clearly you're holding some little nugget of malice in your heart.
I don't have no fraud conviction. Whoever is saying that, remind them that I have a very clean police record. Please don't extend my wounds here, Sandra.
No.
Because you did play a part in giving me some of them.
Oh, Jesus.
And I forgave you. Go ahead.
We need to have a moment of clarity here, okay? When you were mentioned in an article, as you very well remember, it was a broader article about your brother, who was at the time the managing director at Echo. Your bit played a very small part in a much larger article about things that he had been doing. Now, that's your brother, and I know you're going to defend him. You know, that's blood, okay? But what I'm saying to you is there were things that he would have been doing there that were not right on a number of different levels. If he wanted to hire, hold on.
Did they not find that none of that was so?
No, I don't think so.
Have you been given the updated memo?
Which memo from who?
Cynical lawyers?
No, Bobo. No, TD. Come now. If you as a director of a government agency is going to hire your own sister, there should be complete...
How many people don't... And he didn't hire me as a permanent employee.
It doesn't matter. It does not. But Carrie, it does not.
Hired somebody through a staff and service.
It doesn't matter.
I got no benefits.
It doesn't matter. He hired you, and you're his sister. So for the sake,
you got a bunch of expats up here whose husband is working right in the seam. Look at the spot, Ben Cameron Brack School. The principal of the school got her son working in the school with her. Do you want me to give you a whole list of things going on just in the Brack with
Carrie, there has to be transparency, right? In theory, if you go through the right process and you hire a family member and there's complete transparency, there's not necessarily an issue.
So what was untransparent about him hiring me at Cynical? He hired a business. He didn't hire me. He hired a business.
But Carrie, if you would listen, Carrie, where's Thelma? Where's Thelma the cat? Because she's listening better than you this morning. Exactly. She's listening better than you. Because what I'm telling you is if your brother had been transparent and did your hiring the right way, it would have been above board. No, he didn't. Why
the contract, Sandra?
But why
the fucking thing?
Why then did he do a whole thing congratulating you and not even use the name that people know you as? Come on, Carrie.
Because that is the reason I was the one that signed myself up using my middle name. Big deal. It's my name, my legal name. I can use it. If tomorrow I all of a sudden started going around
as Teresa Solomon. And everybody like, who the fuck is Teresa Solomon? Nobody don't know who that is. Come on now. You know how that looks.
No, it don't look no different.
Yes, Carrie. It's not about illegality.
1.6 million from Wayne. Nothing was illegal. Everything we did was up and up.
Carrie,
everything we did was up and up, Sandra.
You're not
you
listening.
You took bread off my table. Yes, you did. And I have forgiven you for that. That's my point.
How do I take bread off your table?
The Cayman Islands government for employment. I am tired of it. And every nasty shit and thing they do to me, I am going to bring it out. Why shouldn't I talk about the nasty things that they do to me? Should I stay silent, have no say, and sit in the corner
Carrie,
complacent and just worry about it and fret about it and not talk about it?
What I'm going to tell you, Lord Jesus, What I'm
How
going
many
to tell
letters I
you,
haven't written to him?
listen carefully to me, Carrie. Carrie, what your middle name is again?
Rosita.
Carrie Rosita. Which last name you going by these days?
I'm going back to Tibbet.
Lord Jesus. That's your problem. You got too many fucking names. All right, Carrie Rosita Tibbets.
You were Hill. You were Solomon. You were Keitra.
I was never.
Come on, give me a break.
Yeah, those are two married names, right? And one that I was born with. All right, Carrie Rosita Tibbet. Listen carefully. Sometimes we have to be prepared to look at the man or woman in the mirror and take accountability for our part in where we are. I'm just saying, right? I have done that. I have not taken any bread off of your table. Your brother put you in a situation and himself that could have been entirely avoided had it been done the right way.
Sandra, you wrote to the minister at the time,
No.
Archer,
no,
and complained to him about me
that's not true.
employment there.
That is not true. I have never. Well, I can tell you. You can ask former Minister Archer, if you want. The only thing I have ever written him about is when he was Minister of Finance, getting my stamp duty waiver in my house. I've had no other correspondence with him outside of, the lawsuit be completely separate. But when he was Minister of Government, I had no reason to write him. So whoever told you that and had you up in your feelings for all these years is a bona fide liar. I have never. The article was published once your brother was terminated, right? And in that article, we included you as a part of what was a very lengthy article of things that he had been up to. I have never
has now been found he was not guilty of it.
Not guilty. How can he not be guilty? This wasn't a criminal case. He wasn't going to court to be found not guilty. As with most things, the most they're going to do is terminate him. That's why he got fired, because all that shit he was doing. Yeah.
Well, there's more to it. I won't say any more. There's more to it. You'll soon hear about it. There's a hell of a lot more to
all
it.
These years later, if I'm still waiting to hear for it, then we can see. But Carrie, nobody got you fired. I did not get you fired. But you have had.
Well, yes, you did.
No,
you
I
did.
no.
The minister said that
that's
I got complaints from you about
that's not
nepotism and favoritism, and that goes on. And
complaints from me.
You're look at some of the government jobs up here. When the mother was retired, she made sure the daughter got the job after her in Cayman. That's not nepotism. We never performed that. We didn't go through no nepotism, favoritism. I didn't have work. I was starving. Government had taken me back to court and lost another lawsuit and took $7,500 of my money and never gave it back. And after I won the case. So this is a situation where you have a starving citizen trying to live. That is what that situation was. And I am going to continue to raise all of the red flags in our government until they stop doing what they're doing to me. They're not stop. So you think that I should stop while they're continuing to be vindictive to me? Look at the $14,000 now. $765 in refunds there to give me, Sandra. They're telling me I must send them my receipts. No, I'm not. You issue them to me, so I'm proving to the country that the systems can be manipulated and rigged because of former employees that work there told me it can be done. And one of them gave me an affidavit clearly outlining what their instructions were to dump all of my letters after they were printed from showing that permits and this and that and whatever applications I had submitted had not been approved. And all the money you got paid in advance for those approvals was dumped out of the system after the letters was mailed. And that's why they have no record. In some instances, for one particular application, I got 3 receipts for them. from the government system. So you are telling me that your system can't find all of the stuff that you have to refund me? It tells me there's a major issue. What about the $7,500 fund from the court that kicked out of a system too? It's laziness, vindictiveness, spitefulness is why they're not giving me back my money. You can lose $14,765, Sandra. Can you afford to lose that?
Nope, can't afford to lose $1.
Okay then.
Carrie, I want you to listen to me. Okay? You're not a very good listener. So I'm going to give you that.
I'm not.
So
yeah. I'm sorry. That's my downside.
And you really
live with it.
you might be living with it, but you realize that most employers not gonna live with it if you're not a good listener. I'm just saying. Now listen, I want you to listen very quick. Don't say another word. Just listen to me.
All right.
Okay. Over the years, we have all had our trials and tribulations, including myself, right? I have over 20 years ago decided that I'm not going to work for anybody else. I'm going to be self-employed and work for myself. That means that you have to go out there and you have to find a job, a niche, whatever that you do, yes, that can make money and put food on your table. You have tried several different businesses that for whatever reason, and it's not just today, you had a very, very lucrative apartment rental management style business back in the day.
Got robbed.
That was what did I say? Didn't I say you gotta listen?
I'm a bad student. Go ahead.
And there were lots of issues around that business. You say you got robbed, but up to this day, there are people who owned condos and houses and whatever saying that you were robbing them. You were not handing over their money. You were not handling your business properly, right? That business went under. Carrie,
you brought it up.
But you've got to listen. You've got to listen to me. You're not listening. No, you're not. You're talking and you're not listening. And you're only hearing enough to be able to come back with a rebuttal. Right? Even the other day, and you see, this is where when people try to say, oh, Sandra's being unfair to me, she's taking bread off my table. Do you know how many complaints I have had on you since you've been in Cayman Brac that I have actually done nothing with? Where people calling and saying, oh, I gave this woman Karen money for my work permit, for my status application, for this and that, and she hasn't done it?
Stick a pin there. Ask the government where the fucking refunds are.
Carrie, I'm not talking about that. I'm not talking about that now. I'm talking about for you.
Part of it.
Jesus
They're
Christ.
all part of it. I'm trying to help you because you're listening to one side. You're not listening to my side. These people in Cayman Brac, I have tons of money on the road in Cayman Brac. These are the same people that came borrowed money from me and now refunded the money, and I come find out they're the town borrowers. Or I submitted the stuff and they never got it approved, and now I'm the problem. So listen, I am being honest here. I have tried to get the money back for these people. Government don't want to refund me a dime. They're the ones that holding up all my money. I've written to the accountant general. I've written everywhere. Wesley Howell, France Manderson, Jeremy Scott, you name it. Everybody I've written to, and they're ignoring me. So you know what? They're going to get my fucking raft too till they deal with it. Give me back my money. That's why I'm pissed off. Yes, I do have a few people in the Brac I owe money refund to, and I've already told them that to their face and sent them an email or a WhatsApp message saying I will refund you as soon as the government refunds me. So please understand there's more than one side to this story.
Carrie,
people in Cayman Brac, tell them to come pay what they borrowed from me.
Carrie, listen to me. You're not listening. Every single business you get involved in, there's always some money mix up. Let's be fair now. Let's call a spade a spade. One business you claim it was your employees that were the problem stealing from you. Now it's the government that's stealing from you. Why is it that you always have these money issues?
Don't ask me. I do it according to the
Well,
book.
who the hell? If I can't ask you, am I gonna put the cat on the phone? Because she gonna be able to know. You tell me not to ask you, but she gonna know.
Did go with my money. The employee did steal my money.
Jeez,
that was fact.
peace.
That was proven. That was proven. That's how I won the matter, because it was proven that the employee did take money from me.
That's actually that's not what was proven, because I remember the technicality in which you won the case and not what it was at all. But Carrie, can we try to find
which one you think it talking about?
Which case are you talking about? Jeez, peace. Look here, girl.
They mix up.
You really
I'm just saying.
You really,
I am not gonna live like this one more day in this country, Sandra. I am not gonna live like this. We're giving people work permits in this country in 48 hours whose police records are fake. Okay, I ain't got nothing on mine.
Well,
and they are going to get jobs in this country, and we don't vet them. But I gonna get thrown under the bus because I this and I that. Okay. I'm sorry. I am not going to sit in this country and allow that to continue to happen to me. The government of the Cayman Islands need to talk to me. They need to.
Well, I can tell you that they're not going to talk to you.
Well, then
because
they're fucking good and they're corrupt.
Well,
like
I mean, you can say that. You can go on and on and on.
Corrupt.
But you know, until you,
I'm not bitching at the parliament. Just to be clear, administrative government.
Until you are
full of corruption.
Jesus. Until you're willing to take some degree of accountability, I don't think that your situation is going to get any better.
I have taken accountability, Sandra. I have taken accountability. Accountability is telling your clients what has happened with their situation, the few that I have to refund.
So somebody said that someone said you're leaving and you're moving to the UK and they want to know when you're leaving.
That's none of their fucking business.
But you're the one who gets on platforms telling people that you're leaving.
That's none of their.
So they want to know when you're going.
When I'm leaving, they don't need to know that. That's none of their business.
Lord Jesus. Here's another question for you. They said Carrie talks about getting a job in the library, but at the same time, she's talking about dildos and vibrators. I mean, would you want your children around her?
Really? When all of us women up here in Cayman Brac just about grew up here in churches where we were sexually assaulted, sexually harassed, and nobody did nothing about it. Even in our high school in Grand Cayman that I attended, all the sexual assaults that were done on us women in that school, young women, nobody did nothing about. Oh, really? And them seeing people big up in government jobs that used to do it? Really? Do you really want me to put a scandalous website out there?
Well,
I can put it out there.
I mean, Carrie, that's a matter for you, because at the end of the day, I mean, I think that honestly, all child molesters should be exposed. But
what is a dildo?
The point really that's being made is that maybe you need to.
Let me say this. The library, not only for children. In Cayman Brac, very few children attend the library. It's mostly adults or expats. Go ahead.
You see how you have an excuse and rebuttal for every single thing?
I don't have an excuse, Sandra. I don't have an excuse. I'm a realist. I bring it to you real. I be honest and downright and tell you how it go. Okay? So, some people can't accept that. And that apparently the government don't want realists working for the government. They want minions. And I ain't going to be a minion. Neither will you be one.
Well, that's why I'm not looking for a government job. I don't want the government to hire me.
Well, I'm proving a point by looking at a government job.
I'm
proving a lot of points.
Well, you know what a pint can be? The real pint is you're not going to get none. So what a pint?
I understand that.
What the pint?
I'm going to show their racist prejudice and bias mindset at all intervals of it.
No,
I'm going to show it.
No, but nobody not going to take you on, because the vast majority of people listening to this and they're like, there's a reason why she not getting a fucking job, and it's becoming more and more obvious.
Really?
Yes,
They're
I'm
just
telling.
a bunch of haters.
Boy,
They've always
Carrie,
hated me.
Carrie,
I don't give a fuck about what they say.
boy,
They
listen.
don't. They're not putting
If
no
you're
bread on
not
my
going to,
table, and I'm
okay,
not
but you
looking
clean
to
people
them for
taking bread, but you clean people taking bread off your table. If you're not going to listen to constructive criticism, then what is truly?
Excuse me. I can afford to tell you I stole no money from Dr. Victor Lacloy, and if he won't fucking go court and answer that question, I happily take him on. Which fucking money did I steal from Victor Lacloy?
Well, you see, this is the point that I'm telling you.
That's a bullshit lie, and I know who said that. I know where you're getting that from. Don't worry, the same one I got lawsuit filed against now. That's okay. Miss Dr. Lacloy, you always listening? You can tell CMR if I stole money from you. I was a property manager for Mr. David Arch, Dr. Lacloy, all these people, but Dr. Lacloy decided when some of his tenants was just not the best tenants.
Someone asking if you were working for the Chamber of Commerce. Have you ever worked for the Chamber of Commerce? I don't know what they're talking about there. I have no idea.
Would never work there. I would never work there. I don't believe in the Chamber of Commerce. They're very, very much a cartel.
Well, Carrie.
Yes, Sandra. Don't worry, I'm monetizing my pages.
Okay.
I'm monetizing my pages with the corruption in the Cayman Islands.
Jeez,
don't worry, I got someone hit.
All right. Well,
I'm not making the Cayman Islands look good in my eyes. So they don't make me look good in theirs. And I've done a lot of good in this country. Oh, yes. Let me say this to all the haters out there. When I came out of Northward Prison and restarted my businesses and was doing very well, who you think sponsored the hair salon and put all the money into the hair salon for the women prison at Fairbanks? My business did that. But you won't see no fucking credit coming to me for that. Oh, no, I did that. And I know the parties who involved also denied it, but they were the ones that turned up at my office looking money to do it. And
we have another caller on the line. Caller, are you calling to be on the program?
Yes, ma'am. Could you please cut off Miss Carrie so I can see what I gotta say, please?
Okay, all right, Carrie. She wants to end the call with you so she can see what she has to say.
No problem. I
Thank
do my
you.
own thing on my page.
All
Thank
right, my dear. Yes, ma'am.
Good morning, Miss Sandy.
Good morning, my dear.
I saw you post Miss Judith Douglas, and I saw you said she robbed expat. It wasn't just expat; it was a lot of us came on.
Oh, I didn't. Well, to be clear, we have writers here at CMR now, so I didn't write that story. So I'm not really sure what the story says, but so the story says that she only took money from Caymanians?
No, well, they said a lot of vulnerable expatriates.
Oh, well, I mean, that could be a true statement. That doesn't mean that exclusively it was only Caymanians, right?
Well, there was a lot of us that was vulnerable at the time that lost money.
Yeah.
We didn't get back in.
Yeah.
And secondly, Miss Carrie.
I think more Caymanians knew about Judith already, not to trust her. So she didn't get as many from Caymanians as she did from the expats. But go on.
Yeah. And Miss Carrie, we like to hear you, but Miss Carrie, you gotta take accountability. If you're wrong, you're wrong, and if you're right, you're right. You can't be screaming wrong on the government and you be wrong. At the end of the day, your campaign is not only looking bad on the government, it's bad on us as people. We all as Caymanians are struggling. I can understand how you feel, but it's not a personal thing. It's not, we all struggling. Miss Sandy, immigration reform is there.
Mm-hmm.
The part where the marriage and all of that, that part is working. It's working.
I think that the problem with Carrie, it's not that she doesn't have some valid points. Like she's trying to monetize her platform and whatever. She has some valid points, but she's conflating a lot of the issues, right? So when we talk about immigration reform, yes, there are things that are inherently wrong with the system and things that need improvement. This government, they're committed to doing it. And so we have to give them an opportunity to see if that is actually going to happen. However, when she starts getting into her personal stuff, there's a lot there that's going on that is, like I said, she has got to be willing to take accountability. If I tell you the number of complaints, and if I tell you the number of complaints for years, now listen to me. On the one hand, we know that if you speak out in this country, you do
there's backlashes.
yes, we understand that. I myself can speak from personal experience.
Myself too.
At
But it's
the
not a personal
same
thing.
time, when I do my business, let me tell you something, right? As vocal and outspoken as I have been, when I have set up my businesses and I have done things the way I'm supposed to do things, even the government, from when I set up Micromatrix, I used to have my training, whatever, because I had a reputation of delivering excellent service, even government, HR managers, and other people would come to me for those services. So there is a problem why Carrie has an issue with customer retention and getting customers.
But
and
Miss
that has
Sandy, she
nothing to
herself,
do,
but
that
she
has
confessed
nothing
on
to
she
do
confessed
with
on
her
air.
speaking out. That is
No,
because
but she
she
confessed
is
on
messing
air.
up the money part of people things.
No, but not even that. She confessed in air that she was the one that chose to use a different name. Now, if you're going to use a different name, you must know and you must take accountability for that. That's not your name. That's not what people know you as. So for you to just go ahead and use your middle name, that's not okay. No way that's okay.
And why would you do that? You know what I'm saying?
There you
So,
go.
you know, like what she's saying doesn't really make any sense.
But in terms of where the immigration is, I think the government is trying, and I think what they're doing is good. The part that I feel that they should put more emphasis on is in the workplaces. That part, Kenyans are not benefiting. And I can prove this to you, Miss Sandy, because you know, I won't tell you where I work. You know what industry I'm in. And so I've seen where there's position where people has gone home on rollover recently. And when they go on rollover, Caymanians, other Caymanians, including myself, inquire about the position. It's a supervisor position. We've been in the company for years, so you would think somebody go, you can get the position, right? So you ask about the position. This is the comeback from the company. Oh, we're restructuring and we're reconstructing, so that position is no longer available. But this is what happens now. They have immigration. This is what I think immigration need to do. This runner permit or this general permit that they have, that should not be a thing. So they have this thing that they call runner permit. So for instance, let's use your business. I don't want to use anybody else's business. You run a newspaper company, and so you have a runner. So you say Cayman Mall Road runner. So for that means he works for you, Cayman Mall Road extension, but he can run within the company and do about anything. So what they do now, they take these people and they replace the supervisor position, the lead position with these people, and they probably add $2 to their pay. There needs to be no amendment to the permit, right? Because you're a runner. You're a runner. And so these are the things that they need to look at, the detailing of what is listed on the permit. Because if you state that a person is a runner, in general, you work for a maintenance company and you're a maintenance runner, it means you can do carpentry, you can do anything because you're a runner. And so there's no jack of all trades in this business, Miss Sandy. People need to state factual. You apply for a morning shift. This is one thing that I knew back in the days when I used to work for another company. If you're on permit, you can't do lateral. What we call lateral is you can't go to another department and fill in. Nowadays they can, because this run a permit business. And so this is what I think they need to look at. The names of the permit. The names should be categorized. There should be no just anybody can just apply for a runner permit or a maintenance permit. No, people need to have trades, people need to have skilled specifics. And so that is where Caymanians can make money, because if you hire somebody to be a server and then let's say a server attendant falls sick, then that's where a Caymanian can come in and get a little extra cash, because you have nobody else to fill the spot, because everybody is working under a permit term. But these permit nowadays, they're coming out, and then when you say to immigration, you can understand based on the law, they're saying to you, we can't do anything because you know. So that's just what I'm saying. That's something that they should look into. But I think, and this is just my 2 pence, I think the immigration reform is fabulous. For those who don't like it, it's what it is. But we have to have some form of reform. It can't be like this. The schools is overpopulated. The hospital is overpopulated. The homes is overpopulated.
And the point that I do want to remind our people is that who is taking out the work permits?
It's us.
Caymanians. Even if it's the status grants, the mass status grants that Makiva gave out, it's still Caymanians. So we need to rein this issue in. It is important, right?
Yes.
The
And
work
we need to
permit
take
issue, there's
accountability for our
only,
actions.
exactly, because there will ever only be so much that the government can do to curtail this situation with the permits. The people who
They
are
need to
putting
start charging
in
them, Miss
the
Sandwich. They need to
permits
start
needs to
charging
have
them.
some accountability. All right,
They
my
need
dear,
to
we
start
do have
charging
another
them.
caller. Thank you so
Have
much.
a good day, Miss Sandy.
You too. All right,
Bye-bye.
caller, welcome to the program.
Good morning, Sandra.
Morning, honey chair. What's going on?
Are you ready for a segue?
My dear, tell me. What's going on?
All right, I'm going to leave that particular bush for you alone. Sandra, I got a bone to pick with you.
Okay.
It's this. I don't appreciate the verbiage that was in the article pertaining to the Jamaican boys who get caught and with the herb and referring to them as fishermen.
Which Jamaican boys? Oh, that's not Lord Jesus. I didn't write the article, but that the only reason that Renee would have put that in there because that is what the courts referred to them as. So she's reporting on court procedures.
Well, because it's not, don't forget the part that it's an insult, right? It's an insult and a legitimate fisherman. They ain't a single doggone rod hole on that boat. You want to call them international entrepreneurial mariners? You can do that, but they ain't no damn fisherman.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, listen, it's not an editorial piece. It is a piece based on what transpired in court. So if the court is referring to them as that was their profession before they became drug runners, I mean, yeah, you know,
the only fish thing about them is that they fish in
fish
the big neck. All right.
Exactly.
Sandra, listen, back to the whole Trump debacle. I don't think you are correct in using the word Nazi. I think the more correct terminology would be Orwellian. But Sandra, we already have a situation. I've seen it on you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
I've seen it on like To Catch a Smuggler and stuff. They always go through people's social media if they have an interest or a suspicion.
If there is a suspicion, yes, but that's different. That is a different situation versus just telling all people to even get a visa to come to the border. You have to submit 5 years of information, DNA, family history, family emails, and all that kind of stuff. That is different, right?
I can agree that it seems very Orwellian.
Yeah, and not only that, but you have to put it in proper context, right? The government, yes, the government who is asking for this and the reasons why they're asking for it. That is because given the history, again, this is why I say you need to look at the history of this Trump administration. They are targeting people. Did you see the African-American young man? Let me show you his picture on the screen.
I can accept that maybe if you are willing to accept, Sandra, that the previous administration targeted people as well. There was a lot of taking people and deplatforming them and XYZ ways of punishing them for freedom of speech. Now, let's not even get on the subject of what is happening in the British Islands, where people are getting arrested for using a word that some people might find insulting or derogatory, even after there's this most recent story where a woman was sexually assaulted and she used an unsavory word in one of her texts, and she had 11 police come and show up at her door and arrested her.
Listen, I'm not telling you that the system
on social media. Right?
Yeah, I'm not telling you.
Going on all over the place.
Yes,
I just want to say this, Sandra. If anybody here in the Cayman Islands thinks, right, that the powers which be do not have their eyeball on all social media here in this Cayman Islands and beyond, they're living in a dream world. So let's get that on the table and understood straight off the bat, right? Now, Sandra, I do agree to a degree that this is somewhat Orwellian. If I think about it in context, right, Sandra, and I say, okay, What if they have a concern where they want to circumvent allowing people with a history of ties, alliances, financing of terrorist organizations? And maybe then we can get it. Do I agree that somebody like you who spends a lot of time lambasting Trump should end up in some kind of gitmo if you try to go and do your weekend shopping? No. Okay? Do you really think we're heading in that direction, Sandra?
Yes,
someone such as yourself
That's
would
right.
be...
Yep.
would be held?
I am even hesitant. I told y'all I was there this past weekend and I left early because the very vibe of what is happening in the US right now is completely different. And I lived in the country for 15 years.
Are you willing to accept the fact
it is
that
not
this
like anything I have
did
ever
not start with
seen.
the Trump administration?
Listen to me. I have never seen anything like this. So the Trump administration has taken whatever you think the methodology is, they've taken it to a level that, in my humble opinion, is extremely draconian and concerning. No other government, like I said, I went there from the early 80s. And I have never seen anything like this before. And I've seen multiple, this isn't about Republicans and Democrats. I don't get into their politics like that. I'm not a Republican. I'm not a Democrat. I'm not left. I'm not right.
They are tied. In the previous administration and administrations, if one was speaking out against the agenda of one political party or even the perceived agenda, right? People have been shut down, shut up, deplatformed.
I have,
it has happened.
Well,
and it is a history
I have never seen anything like this. Never.
Sandra,
Never.
This is why you need to be careful in all factors of life, not only geopolitics, to not push things so far that the equal and opposite reaction is going to become more and more extreme as the pendulum swings. And I truly believe that what we are witnessing now is a direct result of that. I would hope that you would be objective with this, right? So I might be of a more conservative mindset than you. That doesn't mean that you and I cannot agree where oversteps occur. For instance, what has recently happened with releasing the crooked Honduran ex-president on what Trump did? There's no excuse for that. He actually shot himself in the foot, if you ask me. Right? Do I believe that? And you see, what really caught me when it pertains to calling these guys the Jamaica canoe runners fishermen is that they're calling the people coming out of Venezuela fishermen. Now, I've seen multiple articles, not only on your publication, but let's talk about your publication, right? Where everybody is making a really big thing about this. I understand the gravity of it hugely. But let's look at the reality, Sandra. 100,000 people each year die from fentanyl in the United States of America. The precursor chemicals come from China, and I wholly believe that China needs to be held even more responsible, right? The Mexican and the Central American cartels all work in conjunction with each other. Now, whether that boat is, those boats are not going from Venezuela to Miami, Florida. They're going to the DR. Sometimes they're going to the Puerto Rico, because that is still one of the major transshipment points.
Jonathan,
right?
I have to pause you because I do need to get to court this morning and I can't be late.
Sure.
So I got to get going myself before somebody has a reason to arrest me. But what I would say is that, we can certainly have a whole show where we go back and forth and we nitpick on the policies that the U.S. under this administration is up to and what they're doing. But holistically, what I can tell you is you're entitled to, this has nothing to do with being conservative, because I am not of the belief that Trump is conservative at all. I think he has sold you so-called conservative people a bag of nonsense where in order to
don't say you conservative
well
people,
whatever you said you're
Trumper, but
I mean you said you're well you say you're more conservative. This has nothing to do with that, right?
Inclined. Yes.
Well, I mean I would say the same thing with myself too on most issues, but
right.
I
can see that
what I can say is, to me, that's not even what this is about. This is about a president who on most levels, 97%, he misses the mark. And yet there are people who are willing to defend him and go to bat for him. I see El Rey says, well, if he grabs a couple American citizens, they're just collateral damage. At what point does it not become collateral damage? Here's a young man, his picture's on the screen. Here's the story, right?
Young man?
No. He's an American citizen. Right?
Mm-hmm.
ICE agents came up to him, put him in a chokehold. He said, I have my ID. I'm an American citizen. Check my ID. I'm an American citizen. No, they put him in a chokehold, chase him down, tackle him, drag him through the snow, right? Take him to
I don't see the screen because I'm on the phone.
That's okay. So I'm reading to you the context. Put him in handcuffs, throw him in a car, take him down to an ICE office, fingerprint him. Hours later, they finally look at his ID and release him. No apology, no nothing, and tells him that he has to walk 6 miles to get back home in the blistering cold. And he is a born American citizen. If something like this had happened in Cayman, where our CBC agents or immigration agents are going around doing this to Americans, you think El Rey or anybody else could get up here talking about, oh, well, that's okay because that's collateral damage? No, he was born and lived his entire life in Minnesota, and this is not an isolated incident.
Are we talking about, are we discussing a Somalian individual at this point?
No, this is a born American. The point is, because these ICE agents have been given this carte blanche ability to just go around and do whatever to whomever, they think that people no longer have any human rights. The Constitution has been thrown out. Bill of Rights has been thrown out. Everything has been thrown out. Because when it comes to Trump, he believes that the law begins and ends with him. If he says we only want white South Africans to be able to come into this country, then that's what it's going to be. And that's wrong. Who can sit down and rightfully say, well, okay, I can see where that makes sense. That's okay. Again, if our government did that, if they say we only want white, English people coming into this country, would you guys be okay with that? Absolutely not.
Well, I mean, I grew up with a massive influx of South Africans coming to Cayman.
But that is not, I got to take this other call, but my point is.
That's out of the context of the conversation.
Let me take this other call because someone said they were trying to call in. So let me take this other call.
One last point before you take off, please. I'm going to point to you what the previous Biden administration and Kamala Harris administration did, which was purposefully throw open the doors for illegal immigration. And please remember what I have said.
And yet the same. Okay, I appreciate
being a natural consequence.
All right, I appreciate you, Jonathan. But the funny thing about that is, just last week, the same Trump supporters were in the comments saying, "But the Obama sent back more people than this current government." You can't have it both ways. You can't argue what's convenient for you when it's convenient for you, and then the facts are actually something different. Caller, good morning.
Hello.
Yes.
Good morning, Miss Sandra. Happy Friday.
Hi, happy Friday. Happy Friday.
Yeah, it's the one and only Jean A. Solomon.
Oh, Miss Jean, what's going on?
Yeah.
How are you?
I have been out running errands and I've been getting numerous amount of calls. Reference a caller calling in to say that they were the one who actually set up the prison cosmetology unit. I think
what she actually said, so let's make sure we're getting it right now. We're calling a spade a spade. I think what she actually said was she paid and sponsored it. I don't think she said she set it up. I think she said that out of her, when she left prison and she had her own business, she was financially supporting the school. That's what I heard. That's what I understood.
Okay, so to the best of my recollection and my knowledge, if that was the case, I would have known about it. So let me give you the history of that and the background, because we need to start to stand up. I'm no longer a civil servant, so I'm not afraid to speak. And I will say this. Miss Karen, I've had her misgivings, and she did all kinds of stuff. I'm still here standing. I actually was instrumental in placing her husband in the Second Chances program, which you guys have been talking about for government. And I'm proud to say I have contributed to the success of many of our most vulnerable and those socially excluded. Not afraid to say it, because I stand with our Cayman people. So Gary Cullen, I approached him when I realized that we needed more rehabilitation processes within the prison realms. I approached Gary Cullen and asked him if he would be willing to give some lessons in cosmetology, hairdressing, coloring, and all of that to the prisons. He readily accepted my offer, and as a result, we set up a unit in the prison for the girls to learn cosmetology and all of the different things. A lot of the items were donated by him, and Miss Natalie Caesar and Miss Evo Barton and I actually put the whole cosmetology unit together, in so much so that a lot of the girls did the 6 weeks training and left with certificates. Some went back to Jamaica and started to set up their own businesses because of that. Sadly, he passed away. He was not able to come in and do more of the training that we actually welcome. And so when I hear, I got the calls and they said, Miss Jean, I had a major surgery to remove a meningioma from my brain. And Mr. McCarthy and all the persons who were involved in the prison at the top level decided they would not have the opening of that cosmetology unit until I was, well, and was able to return back to assist the prisoners. So I just want to make that clear. I don't know what that lady did or how she got involved, but I was never privy to the fact that she gave any support to any of the contributions that we got, because I spearheaded that. Natalie Caesar and also Miss Evo Barton and Miss Claire Range supported it, Mr. Danny Green. We all had persons who partnered with us. So I just want to make that clear, because the prison is my life. And when you talk about stuff, I want the facts. Yeah, I love every person who has gone inside of those walls, because we have changed. We see lots of changes, and we see how people can change their lives. I was in Hurley's parking lot the other day, and a guy rushed up to me, Miss Jean, look at the back of my shirt. And I'm like, what happened? He said, DEH, I'm there now. And he said, because of you, I was able to go into that interview and relate to them. I had a conviction. I'm now willing to change. My cover letter said the same thing, and I don't have my pants down behind my bottom anymore. It's up to my waist. And he hugged me and helped me to carry my stuff to the car. So for me, the prisoners have a voice. We are their voice as well. And there is change. I've seen so much success behind those prison walls. And all we've got to do is be truthful. When we come on the air, we need to speak what is factual. Anytime you talk lie, I'm going to come out and call you out. So I don't know what she did, but if she did something, then kudos to her. None of us know anything about it.
All right. So she commented and said, at no time was I involved with Jean Solomon. Asked Natalie Caesar. She came to my office to collect the money. They put my business name on the flyers. So I don't know. What a mess.
Okay. Yeah. So I know that's one thing. At no time was I privy.
So she said that she said, Sandra, this was set up after Gary Cullen died. It fell apart. And then years later, they restarted it again. So she's saying it's not the one that was set up in relation to Gary's. I don't know if there was something else that was set up.
Oh, well,
I don't know.
To the best of my knowledge, I don't know. That's what I said. If that happened, I am not privy to it. So I was very straight, because I know I did all of it.
So she said she set up. She says I donated hundreds of dollars to set up the hair salon. So was the training different than a hair salon?
Well, the training started as cosmetology and the hair. So he taught the girls how to do tinting how to color hair and to clean hair and do, process hair, all of that stuff. So if something happened after that, I am not aware of it. So that's why I said, let me call because I know for sure. But guess what? At the end of the day, whatever we did or whomever did something, let us just say we changed lives. We were instrumental in changing lives, and that is more important than anything else.
All right, my dear. I'm going to read a few comments, and then I got to get to court on time. So this one says, thank you. I appreciate it, Ms. Jean. This one says here that you have patience. That's all the calls that we're going to be taking for the day. But this person says, you have patience, girl. Carrie is effing delusional. She needs help. So many cases. We can't wait for her to move to the UK. She will never get a job in Cayman, public or private sector. Has Carrie ever sit down and listen to herself? OMG. Oh, Lord. Another one says, good morning. I need a drink now. I can't possibly cope. You have the best patience. On another note, I too went through the Cayman public school system and never experienced the issues she has. Bless her. All right, folks. I don't know what else to say. Happy Friday. I'll say that. Someone says that she's delusional. We do not collect money from donors. She needs to stop calling my name. So, and another hater that owes you $350. Lord have mercy. All right, I got to get to court. I got to be there in time, and I don't want to have to speed because then I'll get in trouble and I'll end up on Mall Road. So I have to go. You guys have a blessed. There's somebody just said there's a Nutcracker event going on this Sunday. I'll post this up on social media. It's still downloading. It says Dream Chasers Cayman, the #1 Cayman style Nutcracker. Adopted by Melisha Macfield and Josefina Martinez. And you can purchase your tickets at Winner's Circle. It's an evening of pure holiday magic at our Christmas production of DCC's Cayman style Nutcracker. That's going to be this Sunday, the 14th at the Harkwell Theater at 5 p.m. Doors open at 4 p.m. Adult tickets, $30 for 13 and over. Children are $20, 5 to 12 years old. So it looks like it's going to be a fun Cayman version of the Nutcracker show. So go check that out. Yes, we'll post that up on social media. Please continue. You know they'll have a warrant out for me. You got that right, honey child. Please continue to have a safe and wonderful weekend. And no drinking and driving on the roadways. Slow down. Take your time. And I will see you guys on... Actually, I will not be here Monday morning. I will be here Tuesday morning because I got stuff to do on Monday. So I'm not going to be here Monday morning, but I will be here Tuesday. But make sure you continue to follow all the social media channels for all the CMR TV shows. Really great lineup in store for you. So please have a wonderful weekend. See you next week. Bye-bye.
Thank you for tuning in to another episode of The Cold Hard Truth on Bobo 89.1 FM. Cayman's #1 talk show is live weekdays from 7:30 a.m. Never miss an episode again. Watch anytime on CMR's Facebook and YouTube channels for the latest show episodes. Don't forget to follow us online on our social media channels and visit CaymanMarlRoad.com for all the latest news and community happenings.